Hello everyone, and welcome to Fictional Vortex. So we are back with an interesting series on what if Naruto awakens the Nine Tails power and powerful Bijuu. But before we start, I just want to remind you to please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoy my content. Let's start the story. Drip. 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 The sound of water drops hitting the floor was heard throughout the cell. The damp and bleak cell stood tall. Huge bars jotted down the walls. Massive golden-colored cell with a slip of paper that read, "Seal," on it. Inside stood a gigantic fox, known as the Kyuubi no Yoko. It stood several stories high, red-orange fur and had red slitted eyes, piercing and cold. The fox lay awake, watching what was befalling its current host. She was getting beaten, stabbed, burned, and any other form of physical pain they could inflict on her. He sighed. Truthfully, he wanted to help the kid. All he could do without tampering with the seal was heal the kid's wounds. He cursed the Yodem. The man's arrogance was ridiculous. He cursed the Yondaime's wife, Uzumaki Kushina. The one time she just had to lose an argument and it had to involve a life-changing decision of a newborn. He cursed the Sandaime. His manipulative ways as to make the kid loyal to the damn village. He cursed, well, pretty much every single being except for a selective few. He sighed again. How did he get sealed again? Oh right, he thought it would be fun. He was bored after all. He remembered how it first happened. He was casually going through the continent, looking for any sign of disaster when a human summoned him. They stared at him with some stupid eye mutation. The fool tried to bend me to his will. What arrogance. He swung his tail and sent him hurtling towards a rock canyon. He was just about to leave when the other insect, he's huge, everyone looks like an insect, was throwing sticks at him from his point of view. The Kyuubi just stood there with a blank expression. Inside he was thinking seriously. He's throwing fucking sticks at me and trying to drain my near limitless chakra. He would have broken it and left. Human behavior didn't interest him anymore, but then he started feeling a strong pull. He looked down and saw a red-headed female, who he later found out her name was Uzumaki Mito, was using Fuinjutsu, and by the looks of it, she was to be his Jinchuriki. He would have killed her on the spot, but then he stopped himself. She was a redhead. He had a thing for redheads. He blamed Riku-chan, explained later, for it. He thought to himself, he had been constantly destroying places, but that wasn't solving anything. Maybe if he got to know humans better, so he allowed himself to be sealed. There's more, but that's for later. He sighed again for the 1000th time. Humans are a waste of life. His 130 plus years inside a human showed it. He looked at the kid again. He wondered why the attackers stopped. Then they were really trying to end it. They were going to kill the kid. No fucking way. If there's one thing he hated more than humans were how they abused children and rape, and he wasn't going to let either happen on his watch. Now he had to take measures. He looked at the seal holding him. He needed to tweak it a bit. Living for centuries have an upside, you know. Outside the seal, our resident Jinchuriki, the pariah of Konohagakure, the heiress to the Uzumaki and Namikaze clan. Uzumaki Namikaze Kasumi, or Uzumaki Kasumi, because she knows nothing about her heritage, had been running for her life. She had no trouble outrunning civilians. Even with her 8-year-old body, she had lots of practice from running from mobs. It was ninjas she had problems. They hit hard and fast, and they use borderline lethal jutsus. Needless to say, she always got hurt, badly. Every time, the Sandaime would go and check up on her, saying how he's sorry and she should endure. But she could tell, the Hokage didn't mean it. She might be young, but she wasn't an idiot she portrayed herself as. Growing up with swindlers, liars, and even revenge crazy people that is the village, she could spot a lie, even on shinobi. She could see that the Hokage had ulterior motives. But she had so little contact with people, clung to any that she could. Currently Kasumi was at the point of fainting. She couldn't register what the idiot villagers were doing. Try as she might, the darkness of fatigue was robbing her of her consciousness, till she was claimed be sleep. The villagers were preparing to do the deed when they noticed the rise of chakra. Normally they wouldn't have noticed if it weren't for the red bubbly chakra and the ungodly amount of killing intent that came from the little girl's body. Then the red chakra receded into the body. Silence. When they thought it was over, a red chakra hand sprang to the nearest village, sneezing the life out of him. A second hand came out and hit ground. Digging into the earth, the hand seemed to be pulling itself out. Red chakra formed a face, then ears, then teeth, and finally eyes. Oh Kami, those eyes. With a loud roar, sending a shockwave through the village, sending it into panic. The villagers looked at the head in rage, awe, and most of all fear. The fox opened its mouth to talk. You pathetic ninja. You are about to do the one thing I hate above all else. Prepare yourselves, because you won't be seeing your families again, it said. The voice was distorted. Kill the demon. It's free. A villager idiot yelled. A handful of people snapped out of their shocked and rushed the Emin, only to be headless a second later. Fools, if your precious Yandaime couldn't kill me, what makes you think those little strings of metal will? The Kyuubi snarled. One by one, civilians fell, blood rained throughout the surroundings. When they were all dead, the Kyuubi finally receded until only Kasumi's eyes were red, but he was still in control. He sensed various chakra signature he recognized. He decided to play with the little monkey. The Sandame appeared in a swirl of leaves. Joining him were various ninjas wearing masks. The Sandame took a chance to look around and was disgusted. Organs, blood, bones everywhere, and in the middle was Uzumaki Kasumi. The Sandame growled before showing his concerned facade. Kasumi-chan? What happened here? The Sandame asked. Don't you know? It should be obvious, the distorted voice of the young girl said. Kyuubi. Sandame stared in rage. In the flesh, or should I say, from inside this girl. Now then, why are you here, you lowly worm? The Kyuubi said. What did you do? What happened to Kasumi? Sarutobi yelled, and added the last question as an afterthought. Don't pretend like you give a damn about the kid. I can see it in your soul. You detest the girl. You wish for her to be your puppet. You think she can use my power without my permission. Naive. To use my full powers she needs to be in balance with the Bijuu inside. That will never happen as long as you let the kid be hurt. Just now I killed these people because they were going to land a fatal strike against the kid. The Kyuubi said. So if she dies you'll die too. The Hokage said with a gleam in his eye. Finally a way to get rid of the accursed fox. No, Bijuu are eternal. As long as chakra exists, we will return. Don't try and control me or the kid, because in the end, you will lose. Now then, I don't want my host dying from my power, she can't handle it yet. I will go back inside the girl. Remember you stupid monkey, if the kid is almost killed like today, I will come back and slaughter them. Fair warning, kill the kid and you will suffer the consequences. The Kyuubi controlled Kasumi said. As soon as the red chakra faded, Kasumi dropped to the ground. Hokage-sama, what should we do? A dog-masked Anbu member said. Erase her memories of this night and any other. The seal is breaking. I'll call Jiraiya to have it fixed. Clear the roads and never speak of it again. Sarutobi said. The Anbu disappeared to perform their duties. The Hokage shushed to his office and slumped to the chair. He hated Kasumi for the untimely death of his wife, Bawako. She held the Kyuubi and thus he purposely let the shinobi and civilians alike get away with it. He passed a rule saying that they could not reveal that she was a Jinchuriki to the younger generation but didn't enforce it. Thus everyone knew she held the Kyuubi. The only ones that didn't abuse her were the Ichirakus and Uchiha Makoto. He wanted to put the girl to death but having a Jinchuriki in their grasp was too much an opportunity to pass up. He wanted to control her, make her loyal to Konoha, even if he died. Thus he played the grandfather figure in her life. It was working until now. He had to wipe her memory. For Konoha, for his revenge against the fox. A Yamanaka proceeded to seal Kasumi's memories under the watch of the Hokage. The Yamanaka dived inside her mind and as revenge, he sealed a lot of common functions in her brain before the Kyuubi found and ate him. The Yamanaka was pronounced dead but he accomplished his job. Kasumi became a loud, obnoxious, overly confident girl. The next thing was Jiraiya came and said that the seal was fine, but Sarutobi insisted he put a double-layered seal. Dangerous yes, but he didn't care. It effectively sealed off the Kyuubi's influence. The Kyuubi sighed. He could will his chakra to attack outside threats to the kid but he couldn't speak to her. The civilians still attacked but when she was effectively knocked out, the chakra attacked. Still, the Kyuubi sighed. He wondered how long it will be before he could talk to the kid. It could take years. But he had time. He looked at his host and watched her, like a parent. The only thing he could do was just watch. It pissed him off. The Hokage enlisted the kid into that damn ninja academy. The kid just grinned like an idiot, reminiscent of his past host. The teachers held her back, and the other children constantly made fun of her. But she endured. She was a strong one, all right. The apartment that the Hokage gave her was horrendous, and the jumpsuit he gave her was putrid. It was obvious that he wanted her to have no luxury, so she was bemoved by the most simple gifts and could be found easily. The kid was an idiot, but a good idiot, something that he liked in a human and was so rare. But it was not a good thing to have when one was a shinobi. He continued to look at his container. The Kyuubi continued to watch. He snarled inside the cage, seeing the stupid monkey's plans working. The kid was smarter than that, but because of what that damn mind walker did, he totally messed things up. If he could connect to the girl again, he could fix it, but that opportunity was far away. At least the kid made a few good friends, those Ichirakus he liked, including that Uchiha. Looks like there were good Uchiha around. The Uchiha massacre happened. There were 2 survivors. Sasuke Uchiha, who he now dubbed Emo Pretty Princess, and his mom, Makoto Uchiha, who looked out to the kid. She was friends with the previous host, so that might be the reason why. He continued to watch. The kid failed her genin exam for the 3rd time now. It was pathetic. He swore that when and if he ever got a hold of the kid, he would train her till she died, bring her back to life, and then train her some more. He saw how the kid was tricked, and how the Hokage authorized lethal force to apprehend her. He watched as her teacher Iruka tried to kill her before he realized she had been tricked by Mizuki. But at least she managed to learn Kage Bunshin. It was a useful technique. Iruka tried to put on his older brother face, and apparently his container forgave just about anyone. Great. Now he needed to fix the kid. It was insulting how she could forgive. Screw the gods, he was pretty sure they were pissed too. But he resigned himself to his fate. Waiting, he was not a happy symbol of destruction. The kid was made a genin after the little scroll incident, PFFT. Sarutobi just wanted her to pass so she could go die somewhere not in Konoha. The team she was put on was horrible, dysfunctional from the start. That pink screaming banshee needed to die, and the perverted Cyclops was worse. He was a bad influence on the kid. He would die slowly and painfully. He remembered him from his previous host. He was attracted to the previous host, and hated the Yondaime for stealing her. It was pathetic. He was just like those other clan arrogant pricks, and his clan was practically dead. He actually tried to come onto the kid, because she resembled her mother except for her hair, which was blonde. Just think of sexy Jutsu Naruto, not as developed and waist-length straight hair. The teamwork was atrocious. He knew that the council pushed this particular team through because of the Uchiha. While the others got at least adequate training, the kid's sensei practically left her alone. She has potential. Learning shadow clones in a few hours proved it. Also her pranks, they were hilarious, but she could keep up with Anbu. How did people miss that? He hoped this hogwash would end soon. The kid was on her first C-rank mission. Somehow the mission got turned into an A rank because of some guy with half-assed kenjutsu skills called the Demon of the Mist. What bullshit. He was pathetic. But the kid was pretty creative with her little shuriken attack, even though all she did was throw 1 shuriken and 1 kunai. Yeah, it was pretty pathetic. So was their sensei. It turned out that the Wave Country was being controlled by a nefarious evildoer who was short, stubby, and arrogant. How the hell did that happen? Did evil people's criteria change over the last 100 years? But anyways, the kid learned how to do the tree walking exercise, but she had to spend a week learning it. She needed to start with the lesser controls, but her sensei started her out with tree walking. He was hoping to boost the Uchiha's ego, and the banshee was screaming, "She's useless." The fight with the ice girl was interesting. He could possibly do the same. Near infinite chakra, and being a being of chakra himself, of course he could do it. Wait. The Uchiha fell, and the kid is angry. He's a douche kid, no need to feel sorry about it. Wait, it's breaking. Finally, let's see here, do this. Place this on that. Move that there. And bingo. Her brain is fixed. Permanent link to her consciousness. Now all she needs to do is sleep and go inside her mind. Which she's doing right now. This will be fun. Drip. 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 What happened? Last thing I remember was fighting a whole bunch of thugs, and now. Where the hell am I? Kasumi wondered. She was in what seemed to be a prison house. The room glowed in sick golden glow. She couldn't tell why, but something seemed to be calling her from the farthest room. She instinctively started walking towards that direction. Swish swash swish swrsh. Water sloshed beneath her, icky and black. Where the hell was she? And how come there's a huge golden door? Come closer. She stepped slowly towards the gate. Closer. She quickened the pace. Closer. She was in front of the gate. It was bigger than she thought. There was a paper in the middle. As she tried to pierce through the darkness, she made out a shape. It was huge. Boo. Gaw. She fell backwards, startled at the object in front of her. It was the Kyuubi no Yoko. The demon fox. Why the hell was it here? And why the hell is it laughing? Ah. You should have seen your face, it was priceless. Who would have thought you would have been scared of a simple spook? The Kyuubi said. Who the hell are you? Wait, never mind. Why the hell are you here? You're supposed to be dead, but you can't be dead if you're here. Wait a second, I know why you're here. You're here because you're sealed inside me. What the hell do you want? Kasumi screamed. The Kyuubi sweat dropped. Man, was she annoying, but then again her thinking process was increasing. Maybe she started to notice. Yup. A whole bunch of things were happening inside her head. He could tell, they were inside her head. What's this? What the hell? Gigi. He wants to kill me. Kakashi. No, Hikate is a pedo. What did you do to me? Kasumi snarled. Easy there, kid. You should remember about now, just think about it. When did you start acting differently? Kyuubi asked. Her mind was racing. She saw herself so pathetic. A true doby. When did that happen? Wait. Gigi. I mean, Teme erased my memories. And more, she said. Bingo, kid. Luckily my chakra pretty much has your genetic structure copied, even your brain, so it was easy to fix, Kyuubi said. Is that even possible? Kasumi asked. Yup. You ninjans just don't understand the full capacity of chakra, Kyuubi said. Oh, and you do, Fluffy. Well, I am a being made of chakra, so basically I have to understand myself, and I've had centuries to do that. Kyuubi said. He didn't mind the Fluffy remark. Riku-chan often called him that. Whatever. So, why did you call me? It can't be because you wanted to talk, Kasumi snapped. Well, it was part of it. I haven't talked to someone in like 140 years, cut me some slack. My previous hosts just screamed or just stared. No type of contact at all, so they really couldn't use my chakra. Kyuubi said. Wait, you mean there were other containers for you? Who were they? And what do you mean they couldn't use your chakra? I just did, Kasumi said. You could use my chakra because I let you. The other ones just pretty much demanded it, so like hell I'll give it to them. If they want it, they gotta say please. And as for the other containers, I had two. The first one was the Shodem's wife, Uzumaki Mito, and the second one was your mother, Uzumaki Kashina. Kyuubi said, Kasumi's eyes widening. My mother? Wait. Who was my father? Why can I think differently? And why the hell are you nice? Aren't you supposed to be some megalomaniac trying to destroy the world? Kasumi said. Relax, kid. Stop calling me kid. Fine, Kasumi. I think you've gotten enough information right now. I'll tell you bit by bit. I established a link between us, and just so you can have your privacy, I set up a mute, so you can shut me off. As for the second question, no, I am not a megalomaniac, that's just something you guys came up with on your own. How the hell can you assume something if you haven't talked to the person himself, right? Kyuubi said. Kasumi flinched. She had just done what the villagers had been doing all her life. She wasn't any different right now. Sorry, she muttered. Meh, common mistake. Anyways, you should get going. It's time to wake up, Kyuubi said. How'd I leave? Kasumi wondered. Just think of waking up. Be careful out there. Try acting like your doby self to not draw suspicion. Just talk via mind if you want to chat. Oh, and before I forget, don't tell anyone you came into contact with me. Be creative and make up a good lie, Kyuubi said. Thanks. Is your name Kyuubi or Yoko or what? Kasumi wondered as she felt herself leave the mindscape. Oh right, it's been a while since I told someone my name. The last person that called me by my name is long gone, but I guess I can tell you, Kyuubi said. She was waking up but she could hear his name clearly. My name is Naruto. Thanks. Is your name Kyuubi or Yoko or what? Kasumi wondered as she felt herself leave the mindscape. Oh right, it's been a while since I told someone my name. The last person that called me by my name is long gone, but I guess I can tell you, Kyuubi said. She was waking up but she could hear his name clearly. My name is Naruto. Kasumi woke up with a startle. She was soaked in sweat. The bright light that illuminated the room signified that it was the morning. How long was she out she wasn't sure, but apparently the bandages she had on weren't properly taken care of. Her thoughts strayed to what happened before she lost consciousness. She was fighting that guy. Girl Haku. Apparently she was getting her ass kicked every way possible, clearly outmatched and outskilled. She didn't know why she even felt angry seeing that Uchiha prick die. Then she apparently tapped into the Kyuubi's chakra, and apparently she made contact with the Kyuubi. She also remembered the mob that showed up after the Mist Nin's defeat. She used Kage Bunshin to take out the mob but proceeded to faint due to the exhaustion of the Kyuubi's chakra. As it turned out, the Kyuubi wasn't a homicidal maniac that wanted destruction and doom for every living being on Earth. Also, to add injury to insult, he treated her better than the villagers and any other person in that damn village. She wondered if she was imagining things. After all, a demon treating her better than humans. It was almost unreal, the irony of that statement. Must have been a dream, she thought. Afraid not, Kit, we actually did meet. I should probably remind you not to act more differently than you were before. I'll tell you this in case your memories are interfering with your Dobi memories. There's no one in the village, except 3 people that wouldn't kill you in a heartbeat. Those people are the Ichirakus and the older Uchiha. Don't trust anyone else, Kyuubi said. Kyuubi? What the hell? Where are you? Wait, never mind, why should I trust you anyway? I told you not to call me kid, remember? And why the hell are my memories all warped? You didn't do anything to them, did you? Kasumi accused. It's your choice whether you trust me or not. We can make our lives easier or worse for each other, and I for one would like a bit more freedom, not out of the cage, just someone to screw with and maybe change your damn mindscape. A sewer is not a place that inspires kindness and bubbly personality. I call you kid as long as you call me Kyuubi. Sure, I have 9 tails, but so what? Dogs have 1 tail. Will you call it Ichibi? Titles are just a thing ninja came up with in order to control your own kind. They try and call themselves superior because they give themselves a higher standing on top of another and they think they control them. As for your memories, last time I told you that I fixed your brain, remember? Your past thoughts were thoughts of when your brain was mentally broken. Right now this is your true personality, not that obnoxious, knuckle-headed idiot that forgave every fucking assassination attempt because they said, I'm sorry, seriously, though no offense, that, Dobi, you was horrible. Oh, by the way, remember to talk with your mind, you were talking out loud before. Kyuubi said. Gee, how can I not take offense to being called a retard? But seriously, since you're an all-knowing ball of fur, why did you attack Konoha? Do you know who my dad was? Who was my mom exactly? What did you mean before when you haven't been called Naruto in a long time? And Naruto, that's a stupid name. Kasumi said mentally. Slow down, Kasumi. I'll answer all of those questions eventually, but first, we have to be in a secure location before I tell you anything. Also, screw you. My name is awesome. Sure, it means fish cake, but it also means maelstrom. At least mine doesn't mean mist or flower. And clear, Kyuubi, Naruto said. Hey, I might not have a cool name, but at least it isn't a food. Kasumi yelled mentally. I'm a food that goes into ramen, so it's awesome. Damn, you got me there. Ramen is awesome. Anyways, we'll talk later. You might start thinking differently, no scratch that. You will think differently than before. You'll see people's true colors and not the way the Dobi you saw them. Be careful how you talk to them, Naruto said. Thanks, I guess. We'll talk later, Kasumi said. Just then the door swung open, revealing her so-called teammates, Sakura Hano, Uchiha Sasuke and her sensei, Hitaki Kakashi. Now remembering her previous thoughts of her teammates, she found it amazing how much of an idiot she had become. Hitaki Kakashi, the chronic lateness was annoying upon itself, but with his hobby of reading porn in daylight, it was no wonder he hadn't gotten laid yet. Apparently he was an Anbu captain, but he lost against Zabuza so easily, and he even revealed his Sharingan, the ultimate dojutsu. He seemed to inherited the Uchiha arrogance from it. His affection towards her was insane. It was like he was constantly trying to get her in bed, Probably because he was his sensei's daughter and she resembled her mother who apparently he was crazy about. How did her doby self miss that? It's fucking disgusting. He probably wanted to marry into the Uzumaki Namikaze clan or some crap like that to gain power in Konoha. Not to mention he was Sasuke's butt buddy. Sakura Haruno, how she detested the girl. She gave Kunoichi a bad name. Her fangirlism was in insane levels and she thought she was better than her. She didn't even do jack shit on the mission and she would be taking the credit for herself and her Sasuke-kun. Apparently, she also saw Kasumi as a rival for Sasuke's affection. The thought itself made her want to barf. Her personality was awful. She might as well have been a prostitute with her behavior. She hit on every male heir in the academy. Nara, Akamichi, Aburame, Inuzuka. All of them she tried to go after. Her clan was no different either. They tried to get her into prostitution so she could repay Konoha. What bull. Sasuke Uchiha, the most horrific abomination of a human to come out of Konoha. He was arrogant from the beginning and after the Uchiha massacre, he had to stick up his ass so far that not even the strongest person in the universe could pull it out. He was swimming in his own self-pity and demanded even more and he still wasn't happy with it. He also treats his mother like she's beneath him and tells her to do women's stuff. Poor Makoto Kasen. She's been broken will ever since her other son, Itachi, killed most of the Uchiha clan. Sasuke even had the nerve to ask the council to make her his wife because she didn't listen to him. The council almost agreed to it but Sarutobi told them that wait until she's older because she would be useless after she had kids, and they agreed. How bad was Konoha, the greatest hidden village in the elemental nations? She was about to snap at them but she kept her facade easily. Hey guys, what's up? Kasumi said with a smile. Just then, Sakura came up and smashed her head. Kasumi Baka. You've been sleeping for a day now, it's about time you got up. Sakura yelled. Peeved. Dobi's too weak to even get up on the right time, Sasuke said. Now, even if it's her fault, let's get to work. Kakashi said, dismissing the little fight of her team. I was hurt and you're blaming me for recovering fast. What a load of crap, Kakashi. Why'd I have a crappy team again? Oh yeah, I was an idiot and I doubt anyone would volunteer. Fucking pedophile. Kasumi thought. Sorry, so, what do we do? Kasumi asked. You go help Tazuna with the bridge. I'm going to go train Sasuke and Sakura. Have fun. Kakashi waved before grabbing the other genin and disappearing with a shushin. Fuck you too, Tamiz. Kasumi mumbled. Kasumi got her stuff together and went downstairs to find Tsunami cleaning up the table. Tsunami looked up to see a slightly disheveled Kasumi. Oh Kasumi, you're up. How are you feeling? Tsunami asked. Fine. Do you have breakfast? Kasumi said. Your team just told me you didn't want any, Tsunami said. Of course. Kasumi said. It's okay, Tsunami-san, I'm not that hungry anyways. Kasumi said with a nervous laugh. Kasumi proceeded to work on the bridge with Tazuna. With the help of a few hundred clones, they got the job done faster. It didn't take long to complete the bridge, it took about a week. Kasumi was becoming pretty popular around town because of her clones that went around repairing homes. She learned how to fix minor problems because of her shitty apartment. After what seemed an eternity with the idiot threesome known as her teammates, they had finished the bridge and were ready to leave. Luckily they missed the conversation when they decided to name the bridge. They named it the Great Kasumi Bridge. On their way back to Konoha, she stayed quiet for the trip, but she was actually having a conversation with the Kyuubi. So what are you going to do, Kit? Naruto said. What do you mean? Natsuki thought. Are you going to stay in Konoha? That place is a hellhole, you know. That monkey is just trying to find a way to make you loyal to that place. I'll tell you this, besides 3 people, there's no one in that village that doesn't want to kill you. I know, but if I leave then they'll send Anbu, Hunter Nin and squads after me. I might have better thinking process now but I'm no idiot. I'm going to leave that village but I don't have the power for it yet. I'm stuck there until I get more training, which is never in that village. Kasumi said with a growl. Then I'll train you. Kyuubi said. What? Kasumi said surprised. I said I'll train you. He repeated. That's nice of you and all but I doubt I can use any of your moves and your Yuki is too dangerous for me to use. Kasumi complained. Kit, how old do you think I am? I dunno, over a millennium. Kasumi said. Exactly, I've had over a millennium of your humans' pitiful attacks you humans call jutsus. I probably know most of the jutsus in the entire world. Also, I'm not teaching you how to control my Yuki, it's not even demon energy. Kyuubi said. Wait, how can it not be Yuki? Aren't you a demon? Kasumi said. Well, I once was but not anymore. I look like a fox because of unfortunate circumstances. But understand this, I am not a demon. I'm just a mass of chakra, more specifically living chakra. Kyuubi said. Living chakra? Kasumi wondered. Yes, the difference between your chakra and mine is that your chakra is essentially dead, which allows you to manipulate it to your heart's content. However, living chakra such as myself has a will. Why do you think your jutsus don't hurt us? You're throwing dead chakra at a living organism. It can't fight the chakra. You can't control my chakra because it moves too much in your chakra coils. It prods for any release because it seeks to get out into the open. I think you can call it a variation of nature chakra. It's more like emotion chakra, I guess. Okay, now you're confusing me, Kasumi said. It's probably over your head right now, so I'll just say it simply. My chakra is alive. Yours is dead. You can't manipulate living chakra and it hurts you when you try. Oh. So anyways, I can train you. Compared to that monkey that's known as Kami no Shinobi, god of shinobi, who supposedly knows over 1,000 jutsus, I probably know 10 times as many, exaggerating, but this is godlike Naruto. So, do you want to train? Kyuubi said. Yes please. Kasumi chirped mentally. A chance to get out of Konoha just appeared, how wasn't she going to take it? Excellent, you even said the magic word. But I should tell you this, you have a jutsu you could exploit to train faster, you know, Kyuubi said. Really? Which one is it? Kasumi wondered. Sigh. Which one do you think? Shadow clones Kasumi. Every time you make one and have it do something, once it dispels, you get all its information. So if you have 2 clones working on a jutsu, you will have it down in half the time. So if you use over 1,000. Kyuubi left the question hanging. Holy shit. Kasumi said out loud, drawing the attention of her teammates. What is it, Dobi? Sasuke said, not really caring what she would say. I just thought off the best ingredient for ramen. Kasumi said like it was the best discovery in the universe. HN. Baka. Perverted giggle, thus they proceeded to ignore her. Have I ever told you that you are the best mass of chakra that has been sealed inside my stomach? Kasumi asked. Yeah, I'm awesome. Alright, when we get back to Konoha, I want you to get some food, get all your money, buy equipment and go to the Forest of Death. No one goes there and even ninja are afraid to go in there, Kyuubi said. Why? Because it's crawling with big-ass insects and gigantic mutation of animals. And why would I want to go in there? I'll get killed, Kasumi screamed. Relax, they'll run away from you because they can sense me. Animals are much more self-aware of the planet than humans. Besides, it's good training. If you can't kill insects, how are you going to kill? And don't give me that crap about not wanting to kill. You're a ninja, it's your job to kill. In fact, you already killed, so there's no problem with that, is there? Kyuubi asked. He wasn't sure honestly. First kills are always a pain to deal with. I am. I hope. You're right. Ninja's job is to kill. I'd rather not, but sometimes people have to die. Kasumi said, imagining people from Konoha that tortured and beat her. That's my girl. You're an Uzumaki through and through, as expected of the Uzumaki clan. They're the only ones that have won my respect. Their never die attitude always gave me tingles whenever I saw them in action, Kyuubi said. There was an Uzumaki clan? Kasumi said in surprise. She just thought of the extent of her heritage. Oh yeah. I might as well tell you your whole heritage. Your parents were Kushina Uzumaki of the Uzumaki clan and Namikaze Minato of the Namikaze clan. The Namikaze clan was famous for its wind jutsus, but they were few in number. Uzumaki, however, was basically wiped from the face of the earth from the Second Shinobi War. They were related to the Senju clan and they were related to the Rikudo Sennin, whose descendants were also the Uchihas. So to summarize, if I put all those names on yours, you would be Uzumaki Namikaze Senju Kasumi, cousin of the Uchihas, descends NT of the Rikudo Sennin and related to 3 of the 4 Hokages, Kyuubi said. Oye, you still there? What's up with my goddamn heritage? Damn, I'm related to fucking powerful people, yet somehow the gods chose me to be the world's fuck toy. God damn it. Kasumi snarled. If only you knew, Kit. Kyuubi thought. Anyways, take out your frustration on training. If you feel like it, I'll tell you more about things the village has neglected to tell you, Kyuubi said. Damn, I really need to vent. Can't wait to kill mutated insects. That's the spirit. Hey I mean Naruto. Thanks. Kasumi mumbled, smiling. She had never thanked anyone honestly without having to do her fake smile, at least not when her brain wasn't fried. The Kyuubi brought his tail forward and proceeded to rub the top of her head with it. It was awkward, but the feeling went through. Anytime, Kit. When arriving at Konoha, she noticed all the glares and murderous eyes fixed on her. Did she honestly think she could change their minds? That she wasn't the demon? She laughed internally at the idiocy of the civilians of Konoha. When they arrived at the Hokage Tower, Natsuki took a moment to access her thoughts on the Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen. The waste of space whose manipulation extend to the very roots of Konoha. He calls himself the Hokage, but he hasn't trained a day in more than a decade. He's lost his will of fire, as he tends to put it, and tries to force Natsuki's thoughts on. He acts all grandfatherly but never took her serious or even cared for her. He's scum on earth and deserves to be in the stomach of the Shinigami for all she cared. He'd take his frustration out on a child who didn't have any control of the situation, and he's supposedly called the professor. His own student betrayed his home. He's pathetic. She shook of her thoughts and played her Dobby mask. Hey Hokage Gigi, we're back. Mission accomplished. Natsuki yelled before being bonked in the head by Sakura. The Hokage growled quietly because she did not die but didn't show it. Good job, Natsuki-chan. Now, why don't you go collect your payment while I talk to Kakashi about your mission? Hiruzen said. Okay. Natsuki said, quickly getting her money, and went to get ready for her training. Sasuke and Sakura calmly, by which meant they went yelling and brooding all the way, proceeded to get their own money. Now Kakashi, could you tell me why she's still alive? Hiruzen said. Apparently, she tapped into the Kyuubi's chakra, Kakashi said. What? Hiruzen yelled, almost calling Anbu. Hold on Hokage-sama, she clearly hasn't been in touch with the Kyuubi. While she was sleeping, I checked the seal, it's perfectly normal. Kakashi said. Unknown to him, he didn't know that she had an extra seal put on her, so all he knew is Shikifuin, and thus because of the unknown act, Hiruzen did not take action. Alright, since the Chunin exams are coming up in a month, train Sasuke, train Sakura if you want. But make sure you don't let Natsuki see or hear that you're training them, Hiruzen said. I understand Hokage-sama, Kakashi said and left the room. If we're lucky, that demon will die in the Forest of Death, if not then she'll surely be slaughtered during the next part of the test. She's pitifully weak, there's no way she'll even reach Chunin rank, Hiruzen thought. How wrong he would be in the coming months. After Kasumi got lunch and picked up any and all supplies she could, she created a shadow clone with half her chakra. It would last a while. She snuck into the Forest of Death at night and proceeded to set her equipment and build a little home for herself that was well hidden and close to a water source. Okay Naruto, what should I work on first? Kasumi asked. Well, first you need to get your chakra control to be better. Since I'm actually cooperating with you, your chakra control should have improved, but you still need more training with it. Make about 50 clones and send them to the water and have them practice chakra control. You have to release a steady stream of chakra, remember that, Naruto said. Kasumi made a cross-shaped hand seal and 50 clones popped. They all went to the watering source. Now what? Kasumi asked. Next you need to practice your taijutsu and kenjutsu. You humans have pathetic styles and katas, it's an embarrassment. Make 200 clones and have a battle royal. Make 100 clones and have them swing a sword you have until they pop. Shadow clones can help you with muscle memory but not with physical conditioning. After you fight the clones, do 500 punches and kicks, 200 push-ups, 300 sit-ups, run around for an hour and then rest. That will be the starting exercises, Naruto said. What the hell? That's way too much, Kasumi complained. Yeah. But you can't expect to get better without any pain, right? The best train themselves non-stop under worse training to get better. Don't complain about this simple training, he said. I wasn't complaining, Kasumi mumbled before she got to work. The girl is too stiff with her movement. No kenjutsu at all and has horrible chakra control with no prior training from anybody. She's going to be a piece of work alright. But still, she's going to be great. Anyone that could take the abuse she's been through can become one of the most legendary shinobis out there. Kyuubi thought as he watched his container training. A small smile crept upon his face looking at the young girl giving it her all before collapsing in exhaustion. Good job, kid. Eat something and go to sleep. Dispel your clones but not all at once, the information will probably knock you out. We'll see how far you are tomorrow, Kyuubi said. Fuck. You. Kasumi said. Famous words spoken by apprentices everywhere. Kyuubi said as he started healing the girl's tired body. Oh yeah, she was going to get stronger fast. He couldn't wait to torture the girl. No, he didn't mean training. He really meant torture, as in the level of training so high that it looks like torture. After all, there can be no gain without giving up something in return, something her knew. All too well. After Kasumi's training finished, Kasumi was on the floor, panting hard. Her body was pulsing with pain, but she was oddly proud of herself that she managed to complete the training. A few seconds later, she got the memories of the clones she sent to practice kenjutsu and chakra control. Now her whole body and mind hurt. I hate you right now. Datbeo, Kasumi said, panting. Ha ha ha, feel the burn, kit. You can't expect there to be no pain, that would be a total waste of time. You're going to have to endure a lot of torture and you'll be glad you did, Naruto said. Torture? Don't you mean training? Kasumi asked, a bit hopeful to avoid the torture. It is training. My training makes training seem like torture. Suck it up, kid. If you want to be strong, you got to do stupidly exaggerate things to get stronger, Naruto said. Right. Hey Naruto, Kasumi said. Naruto responded. You said there was a person long ago that called you by your name. Who was it? Kasumi asked. Kid, there are just some things that you have to earn, and my past is one of them. I'll put my trust in you eventually, just give me time. I will tell you this though. Her name was Riku, Naruto said. Riku? Yeah, that's enough training for today, kid. We'll pick up from here tomorrow. Your control improved greatly, so I'll teach you a few jutsus tomorrow. Get some sleep. Night, Naruto said. Yeah. Good night, Kasumi said. She was worried she hit a sore spot, but she decided to follow his advice and go to bed. Lots of things to do, and so little time. Next morning, alright kid, your training will be the same as yesterday. When you finish it, I'll teach you the jutsus. Have your clones do any and all chakra exercises you know, tree walking, water walking, senbon and kunai balancing, and combine them. Practice your kenjutsu the same as yesterday, Naruto said. You slave driver, Kasumi complained. Whatever, hurry up and complete the crap I told you to do, Naruto said. After her hellish training, she finally finished her warm-up and proceeded to teach Kasumi jutsus. He taught her basic jutsus that would help with simple jutsus that are really convenient. He taught her Shushin no Jutsu, body flicker, taught her to sense chakra, and retaught her the 3 basic jutsus. It also turned out that she needed to be taught how to read and write. Thus he told her to bring the books and any study material she had and taught her from the beginning, much to his chagrin. He started teaching her about her elemental affinity. Due to being inside her, she actually had all the affinities, but they were all weak except wind. He started teaching her how to use her wind chakra. It was astonishing how well she did when someone was actually giving her sound and clear advice. She cut a leaf in less than a day and proceeded to cutting the leaf in complex shapes. She went on to cutting boulders and to the point where she could make a breeze whenever she wanted to. She learned how to do that in 4 days. Needless to say, she was giddy and ecstatic at her new teacher, Kyuubi-sensei or Naruto-sensei. After that, she left her clones to do the rest of the elemental exercises while Naruto taught her various wind-based ninjutsu. Futon. Renkuden, drilling air bullet. Futon. Repusho, gale palm. Futon. Kei's no Yeba. Blades of wind. Futon. Daitopa, great breakthrough, and wind release, spiraling wind ball. By the time 3 weeks rolled in, her speed, strength and jutsu arsenal increased exponentially. The only problem was that she needed to be able to think ahead. Thus, Kasumi and Naruto played shogi in the mindscape, seeing as how inside the mindscape, time slowed down. Her analytical abilities increased by leaps. She had also grown taller and developed more because she was getting a steady diet from the forest's vegetation and the meats she hunted in the forest. Naruto went as far as taught her how to cook. He complained that she had no idea how much effort he made to convert all the ramen into nutrients she could take in. She would have died prematurely if he didn't act. It was amazing that no one noticed that the shadow clone Kasumi that was sent to her home wasn't Kasumi. The only ones that noticed were the Ichirakus and Mikoto. The clone stayed inside the whole time, and when she needed to go to team training, she just told them that she was busy and needed to leave. They didn't even know she was there. Naruto couldn't teach her any taijutsu because he actually needed to show her the work. He also couldn't teach her fuinjutsu. It had always been his favorite, but he was stuck behind the blasted cage. Genjutsu was out of the question, not because of her control but because it actually distorted reality. Being a fox, who are specialists in illusions, they have an uncanny ability manipulating reality, so much that it could transcend time. One thing Naruto noticed about Kasumi was that she was getting very close to him. It might be because he's the only one that has actually helped her as much as he did, but he was coming to like the kid. He didn't know how, but the kid had wormed her way into his mind, but she did. Days before exam, Kasumi was walking randomly in the village. She had been in the forest for close to a month already, and Naruto told her to go back because they were setting up for the Chunin exams. Apparently there were already many foreign shinobi in the village. She wandered around before she heard the irritated voice known as Sakura. Normally she would have ignored it, but apparently someone was dotting something to her and she'd be pissed if she died before the actual exam. She proceeded to go to the disturbance and noticed two sand ninjas holding a kid. She knew the kid. He hated her, but seeing as how the Sandame is probably watching her, she had to act. After a little exchange and Sasuke attempted to look cool, she recognized a familiar chakra. It was similar to a Bijuu. "Who's there?" she said, looking up towards a tree. "Baka, it's just a tree," Sakura said, apparently blind and had Sasuke vision. Just then, sand started to form a body structure which revealed a red-headed boy. "Cannon crap, kid. That's the container of Ichibi. Be careful around him, he's the insane one around the family. Make contact but make it coded. Just call him Mr. 1. Kyuubi said. "Hey you." She called out Gaara, who turned around. "Hello Mr. 1. I finally get to meet a brother of mine who carries the same burden," she said, as Gaara's eyes widened a bit. "I see. Who am I talking to?" Gaara asked. "I'm Ms. 9, or Uzumaki Kasumi. A pleasure, I'm sure," Kasumi said. "Ms. 9. Uzumaki. You shall prove my existence. Kankuro, Tamari, let's go," Gaara said as the Sand siblings looked at the exchange and left. "What the hell was that about Dobi?" Sasuke asked. "It's Dobi stuff, you wouldn't be interested," she said. Sasuke grunted and left. Sakura departed shortly. "You know Kit, Kakashi is probably going to put you in the exams even if you don't want to," Naruto said. "Yeah, do you think I'm good enough to get away yet?" Kasumi asked him. "You're fast enough to outrun Chunin out of the country, but Jonin and Up would catch you eventually. I say stay until they give you a reason or force them to, like banishment. They can't add you to the bingo book if they do," Naruto said. "Probably, we'll see how it goes," Kasumi said. As predicted, Kakashi signed Kasumi up without permission and was forced to take a mock test by Iruka, who tried to kill her before he knocked him out. Later in the Chunin exams she noticed the genjutsu but stayed quiet. After the little fight in front, Sasuke got into a battle with Rock Lee, who called her the most unyouthful person there was in existence. Damn, it hurts to talk about Lee like that, he's awesome. After he got beat up, they went into the exam room, where she saw several familiar faces. Kiba and Izuka, those bastards tried to rip her to shreds on more than one occasion. Kiba tried to exert his dominance on her only to receive a kick in the nads. He has no self-control and will try to come on to any women that will let him. He's a dog in constant heat, to put it bluntly. Hinata Hyuga. After she had her from being picked on, she goes ahead and attacks her in fear. After learning that her family praised her for it, she focused all her time on making her life worse to get more praise from her father, ignoring her ninja training. She's a meek girl that tries to find any form of acceptance from anyone. Shino Aburame, he's not bad but he's not good. He prefers to stay out of it, but he and his clan are still involved in the periodic beatings that she dealt with. Ino Yamanaka, damn mindwalker, always messing things up. She's also a fangirl, enough said. Nara Shikamaru, he's supposed to be a genius but he can't even realize he's been corrupted into thinking the way he thinks. He's a lazy bastard and he's used his clan jutsus to hold her from running away from bullies. Choji Akamichi, fat piece of crap, is freaking bipolar. One second he's nice, then she comes into the picture and he's a total jerk, not even worth the crap they shit out. He and his clan need to eat to be able to use their jutsus, that's just weird. Canon stuff till Forest of Death. Kasumi was familiar with the forest so she had no trouble locating and noticing any unnatural movement or traps that might have been set by the enemies. Naruto had told her to watch out because there was a snake in the grass, but she didn't get the meaning until it was too late. Orochimaru. An S-class missing nin from Konoha. Apparently he was Sarutobi Tomi's student but up and left the village because they couldn't see eye to eye. Serves the Teme right for favoring a single student than the whole team. Come to think of it, right now Team 7 was pretty much the same thing. One will betray, one will stay, one will be caught by personal turmoil. It was almost a cursed fact by that time. Here she was, alone, while Sakura and Sasuke left her to die, but not before giving Sasuke a hickey. She cursed her luck. Honestly, with gambling she was Lady Luck herself, but with these situations, it seemed like some sort of karma backlash was out to get her for some reason. Ah, Kasumi-chan, so nice of you to join, but what about your teammates? Orochimaru asked, watching her team leave. Sigh, they're useless honestly. One of them mops about how his life is so pathetic and how he needs to be emo to get stronger while the other one just follows and nods and repeatedly asks for her to get laid. It's pretty sad. They prefer the easier way than the harder way. They even abandoned their teammate. Do you really need to ask about my crappy team? Kasumi said. Point. But let's see how well you do. I'm sure that the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki will be a great warm-up, Orochimaru said. Why would you think that? Instead of training me, they try to kill me, but still, that doesn't mean I won't hold back, Kasumi said, charging the snake. Although she said that, she knew she stood no chance against Orochimaru, but she was hoping for an opening to run away. She put chakra into a weapon storage seal and withdrew a kodachi and started to cut Orochimaru down. Orochimaru with his snake-like movements flowed around it. She added wind chakra to give it some sharpness and increase its length, but to no avail. She jumped backwards and shouted. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, she said, making a single clone. The clone went through some hand seals and yelled. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu, Grand Fireball Technique. And she herself yelled. Futon. Daitopa, Wind Release. Great breakthrough. The wind-boosted fireball expanded in size before Orochimaru used. Doden. Doryuheki. Earth Release. Earth-style wall. And blocked the fireball. Orochimaru decided that he couldn't let the girl get lucky because she was far more skilled than he thought. He thought it was the Kyuubi's doing. Kit, use my chakra, he's too fast for you to keep up, Naruto said. Instantly her eyes turned red and even with the boost from the Kyuubi, she could barely see him moving. Kasumi jumped to the air and brought her sword up before yelling. Raiden. Shirai. Lightning Release. Lightning Strike. A yellow glow came from her sword as she swung down, immediately sending a strike of lightning towards Orochimaru's body, who kawamiri'd out of the way. The strike caused a deep thin crater to form on the ground. She looked around for any sign of Orochimaru. She heard a noise coming from under her to see a snake with its mouth open already trying to eat her. The snake clamped down on Kasumi and swallowed her whole. From inside the snake Kasumi yelled. Futon. Kase no Yeba. Cutting the snake from within, she crawled out of the snake covered in its saliva. She received an impact to her stomach which sent her rocketing towards a tree and making a dent in it. She got up and looked at the source. Orochimaru was standing unscathed. It seems that the Kyuubi's power is giving you extra strength, better put a stop to it, Orochimaru said, appearing in front of Kasumi and slamming his hand into her stomach. Gogyu Fuin. 5-pronged seal. He said, causing Kasumi's feral look to recede and faint. So much potential, too bad the village forsaked it. Oh well, might as well leave the body to the animals. Orochimaru said, throwing the body to the ground. He was under the assumption that the Kyuubi gave her all her skills. Kasumi was losing consciousness. Sorry, Naruto. After we finally got to talk to each other. Kasumi muttered as the darkness began to claim her. Oi, Kasumi. Don't fall asleep, god damn you. Shit. Shit. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you, Kami? Naruto yelled from inside its cage, not being able to help Kasumi out. He growled and tried to force himself out of the cage, to no avail. Crap, again with the double seal. I can't get chakra to her, can't contact her. I can change the seal again, but there's no telling what it would do. Sorry kid, you're on your own. Kasumi lay asleep for a while. Luckily there was still residue from the Kyuubi's chakra surrounding the place, thus no animal was stupid enough to attack. Kasumi woke up hours later, wondering what happened. Kyuubi, are you there? What happened? Kasumi said. Naruto? You there? Are you mad at me? Fine. Be that way. Who needs you, you stupid furball? Kasumi exclaimed. No reply. Nay? Come on Naruto, I'm sorry, just don't leave me alone again. Please, Kasumi said. Her fear was slowly growing inside of her. The person, chakra being she had come to rely on, was now ignoring her. Kami was playing with her now, she was convinced of it. Kami gave her hope to finding a friend. She got trained by him. She was starting to think of him as something more, but what does Kami do? Takes him away from her, puts her against an S-class ninja and left her alone. She was actually a very lonely girl. She dusted herself off and proceeded to find her teammates. At the very least they had to stay with her for the time. By the time she found her team, they had been attacked by the sound team. Sasuke activated his demon Hiki and was convinced he was Kami's gift to the world. They collected Earth Scroll from AIM team and proceeded towards the exam. Canon except Iruka was a bastard. Everyone gave Kasumi a death glare for surviving. Fights the same until Kasumi's fight. Uzumaki Kasumi vs Inuzuka Kiba. Alright Akamaru, now we can kill that demon, Kiba said, while everyone was screaming for Kasumi's death. Kasumi herself was so out of it that she wasn't wearing her Dobi mask. She was wondering why Kyuubi hadn't talked to her yet. He had never been mad at her before or disappointed in her, but what changed since then? Round Uzumaki vs Inuzuka Kiba, begin, the proctor yelled. Maybe something the snake guy did. Last thing she remembered was him saying something about a seal. Kiba rushed Kasumi with his nails sharp and jagged. He took a swipe at her when Kasumi just sidestepped it. Kiba continued his onslaught while Kasumi was ignoring him. It made him angrier. Maybe that guy did something to the seal. He couldn't talk before because there was an extra seal on him. Maybe the snake did the same thing. Kiba and Akamaru attacked with their clan taijutsu. Kasumi just jumped, evaded and Kawamiri'd out of the way, surprising everyone and further outraging the Inuzuka berserker. Then Naruto wasn't ignoring me. Maybe he can't contact me, she thought. Her mood considerably brightened and turned her attention to the battle. Time to end this. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, she shouted, making 6 clones. All of them rushed the Inuzuka and Kiba was blindsided and was kicked into the air. Then he was kicked again, and again until he was halfway towards the roof. He felt something on his shoulders and then felt the world spin. Take this. Uzumaki Iseki. Whirlpool Crusher. Kasumi yelled. She dragged the body into circular motion in the air and it started spinning faster and faster. The spinning attack dropped to the floor and when it hit the floor it let out a thunderous crash with the sound of bones breaking, leaving an imprint of the heavily injured Kiba. The audience stood in silence before the proctor called the match. Winner. Uzumaki Kasumi. The room erupted in disagreement and outrage, but Kasumi didn't care at the moment. She was still on the thought of that Naruto didn't hate her. She was happy. Unfortunately, she gathered the attention of people she didn't need. The demon must be acting up. Sarutobi thought. Damn that demon. She should have died at birth, Asuma thought. How dare that demon harm my student? She should have died long ago, Kurenai thought. The demon is getting stronger, thought Kakashi. Everyone else just glared at her. The Chunin exam fights finally drew to a close and they chose who would fight who. Uzumaki Kasumi vs Neji Hyuga Uchiha Sasuke no Gaara. Temari vs Shino Dosu vs Shikamaru Kankuro vs Rock Lee. After they assigned who was fighting who, she went to the hospital to get some bandages. It seemed that Kyuubi's healing was cut off. When she got there, she saw Kakashi, and decided to be nice and say hi. But Kakashi took it the wrong way, thinking she was asking for training, and mouthed off to her how she wasn't worth the air she was breathing and tossed her to the stupidest jonin he could, who was Ebisu. Ebisu was a strict Kyuubi hater, but seeing that she was technically his charge, decided to train her at the hot springs with water walking. She learned that something was definitely wrong because her chakra control was off by a lot. Just then, Ebisu spotted an white-haired guy peeking on the women's side of the hot springs. Being the non-pervert that he is, he attacked, only to be beat down by the old pervert. The man looked at her and then sneered at her. Then he walked up to her and told her he would train her to compensate for kicking the crap out of her sensei. Kasumi was already suspicious of him but went with it. "Alright Gaki. All you need to do is make as many clones as you can and fight," Jiraiya said. "Why?" she asked. "Will you do it or not? I don't have to train you, you know," Jiraiya said, not wanting to spend a second more in her presence. "Damn demon, you killed Minato and Kushina. I'll make sure you'll die," Jiraiya thought. Kasumi proceeded to make as many clones as she could, but it was less than half of her usual amount, but proceeded to fight nonetheless. All her clones withheld their jutsus because they didn't trust him. After the clones dispersed and Kasumi was tired, Jiraiya had her sign the Toad contract. Naruto had taught her about summoning contracts. Apparently there were two ways to use chakra. One was to gather it up, mold it and release it in one go. But the alternative way was to constantly release a steady amount of chakra and keep doing it until the desired effect. But the problem right now was that the seal that she had no idea where it was interfering with her jutsu molding and control, making her chakra less focus and generally evaporate before activating the jutsu. The result was a tadpole. After a few tries she got sick of it. "Damn it, what's up with this technique?" Kasumi yelled, drawing Jiraiya's attention. As I thought. You need to draw on your prisoner's chakra," Jiraiya said. "But I can't access it," Kasumi said. "Must be because she can't contact the Kyuubi." Jiraiya thought. He was partly right, but unfortunately for him, it was from different reasons. Thus he thought up an intelligent, well-thought-out way to draw the Kyuubi's chakra, and if she failed, well, there goes the demon, no harm done. "Alright Brad, come here," Jiraiya said, walking away towards the forest. Kasumi just got up and followed him. After a long trek, they stood in front of a large fissure in the earth. "Why are we here?" Kasumi asked. In the back of her mind, something was telling her to go away. "I'm going to teach you how to draw on the Kyuubi's chakra," Jiraiya said. "Why? I already know. How are you going to teach me?" Kasumi asked, something sending shivers down her spine. "To access it, all you need is to be put in a life-threatening situation, and for that, I'm going to throw you off this cliff," Jiraiya said, grinning. "Wah! Good luck," Jiraiya said, hitting Kasumi and sending her into the gorge. Fuck. I can't channel the Kyuubi's chakra. Gotta put as much chakra as I can into it," Kasumi said, performing the hand seals necessary to summon. "Kachiyose no jutsu," she screamed, and smoke surrounded her. Only for her to pass through it. It failed. "Am I going to die?" she said in her head. "All alone. Someone. Please, Naruto." She closed her eyes waiting for the end. God damn it. Damn it. Kyuubi was cursing behind his cage. Shit was coming down and Kasumi was going to suffer for it. She was going to die in a matter of seconds. There was only one way he could possibly save her. It could potentially solve the problem and save Kasumi, or it could end all life as they know it. It was not an exaggeration. Fuinjutsu is some seriously powerful stuff. Especially one supported by the Shinigami. He was only 50% sure he could save the girl. Being inside two Uzumakis, his endless knowledge about Fuinjutsu was further refined by the two seal mistresses. He had to do it. He had to protect her. It was strange how much he began caring for her. But he had to face it, she grew on him. She was his friend, his container, his student, his regret. If he died in exchange, then it would be better. Right now, he had all to gain and only one thing to lose. His promise. But to save the girl, he would damn himself for eternity. Because he made promise after all, and Naruto doesn't go back on his word. Isn't that right? Riku-chan. It's now or never, Naruto shouted. He released a flood of chakra towards the gate, the energies clashed with it, he forced his body through. Little by little, he was gaining ground. The pain was excruciating, but it was nothing he hadn't felt before. As his whole body passed, he noticed something from the seal, two chakra signatures that he recognized. So those two actually had a little trick up their sleeves before they sealed me. I'll flush them out eventually. He thought as he exited the cage. Turning back, he saw a huge glob of chakra floating in the cage. It was his chakra. So my chakra stayed behind. No matter, I still got my human chakra from back then, and that should be enough. I have to hurry while I still have this form. He thought as he began to exit the mindscape. Kasumi was falling. She dared not open her eyes. She didn't want to see the ground where she would die. Seconds passed, and more seconds. Waiting. 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 What the hell? She thought. She cracked her eye open and saw that she was covered in smoke. The smoke started clearing up and she saw that she was above the fissure. She looked down and made out the impression of what looked like Jiraiya inside the ground, and what seems like a huge paw print. She saw that she was above the trees and unconsciously looked down. There was orange. Her eyes looked back. 9 swishing tails were seen, all flowing everywhere. She looked down again and finally opened her mouth. NN Naruto. She stammered out, not sure of what to make of it. The figure tilted his head down, and made contact with the cliff that she had been previously on. She jumped down and saw the full size of her Risaser. Kyuubi no Yoko, Naruto. Hey kid, how's it going? Naruto said. Kasumi would have cried there if she wasn't so angry. You damn furball, where were you? Do you have any idea how worried I was? I thought you didn't want to talk to me. I thought that you were mad at me. Screw you. You damn fox. Bossard. Arrow Kitsune. Shithead. She screamed at him. She didn't notice that his body was steadily shrinking. Sorry about that, that damn seal was interfering, so I couldn't contact you. I just took a huge risk to save you, you know, the shrinking fox said. I don't give a crap. You think you can just apologize. Naruto. Are you getting shorter? She said, ending her rant before it could start. Yeah, it's a result of forcing myself through the seal. You're keeping all my Bijuu chakra in you. My body is adjusting itself right now to an age where it can handle my body with minimal damage, the fox said. Kasumi just stared at the ever-shrinking mighty Kyuubi whose form seemed to about even hers now. She stood impassively as the body started to form. It was a boy maybe her age or older. He was 5 feet 6 with reddish spiky hair with a tan complexion. He had whisker marks on his face while his eyes were a striking amethyst color while the other eye glowed a bloody red. He was wearing an orange sleeveless shirt with black pants. He was barefoot and his arms were covered in bandages while a mesh shirt hung down from under his shirt. Kasumi stood agape. The fox had just turned into a boy with red hair and was wearing orange. Definitely earned points in her book. But what stood out were his appendages. He had orange-colored fox ears and 9 swishing tails. There was only one thing that he could have been. Naruto. Yo. He said, his flat voice echoed in her mind. He had said it as if nothing was wrong. Kasumi blushed. In front of her was her sensei and her friend, who she was thinking of as her potential best friend a while ago. But now as she stared at him, she couldn't help how handsome he was. For some reason she liked his red hair. Her blush increased. Oh no, she thought. She was falling for Naruto. The Kyuubi no Yoko, her friend, her sensei, her prisoner. Many thoughts were running through her mind. She did the only thing that she could do when a girl was confronted with a realization that her love at first sight turned out to be a humongous fox. She fainted. Oh boy. I have a feeling she's going to wake up either pissed or demanding crap. Naruto said, his tail swishing happily. Oh well, it's been a long time since I got some fresh air. Better take her to a secure place. He said as he walked to Kasumi and picked her up with his tails. He stopped and grabbed the toad contract before shushanying to a different location. He appeared in the forest of death and Kasumi's base and laid her in a patch of leaves. Kasumi didn't let go of his tails until he brought something else she could squeeze to death. Naruto opened the scroll and channeled chakra into it. He got a distinct reading from it. Mount Myoboku. I guess I should speak to the toads for a bit. He thought as he channeled more chakra into it and found the signature to the place. He made some hand seals and disappeared. His destination, the mountain of the toads. Smoke covered the sky as nothing but rubble could be seen as far as the eye could see. Trees were broken, stone walls were decimated, and bodies mutilated laid on the ground, blood seeping deep into the earth as the carnage the beast made as it was passing was inhumane, almost godlike. Underneath a pile of rubble, movement could be heard as a survivor still remained. The survivor had a hard time just moving his body, but he willed it to listen. Moving the debris that was crushing him, he inhaled a mouthful of air that he had desperately wanted but immediately almost felt like throwing up. The stench, the smell of human flesh, some old some fresh. Charred bodies also laid everywhere, the smell of human flesh reeked across the place. The survivor again willed himself to continue, shakily standing up on his bloody legs while looking at his hands. He couldn't believe he survived. Out of everyone that screamed to God that they begged to survive, only he, as far as he could see, survived the onslaught. He, the person that wanted to die the most. God just loved playing a sick joke on him. His blood-red hair stood out as all the blood on it made no difference. His one eye that shined blue even in the darkness could be seen. His other eye, which was taken from him, was still covered by bandages that somehow remained intact. He was cursed, that's what the survivor told itself. God would not let him die. Was there some sort of mission he had to do? Did he have to kill someone? What did he have to do before he was finally allowed his eternal rest? All he could do was accept it, just like all the other misfortune in his life. He didn't care who died at the moment. Actually, he didn't care at all. They were better off dead. The only thing that he was concerned about, what was he going to do now? With his extra appendages, most would accuse him of being a demon's spawn or offspring. He scoffed at the idea. At least then, he would have the power to defend himself. Walking towards a random place in hopes of civilization, he walked, passing all the bodies, passing the puddles of blood he stepped on. He didn't care. Humans could do whatever they wanted. He walked for what seemed like days until his feet finally gave out. The clothing he managed to find to cover himself with had been tattered and ripped due to the journey. He fell to the ground, hoping that he could finally close his eyes. But again, Cammy just loved to fuck with him. A girl happened to notice him, a girl that had no business even being there but was, like some twist of fate that they met. The girl rushed towards the exhausted traveler and tried to help but didn't know how. "Sir, can you hear me? How can I help you?" asked the girl, desperately looking for any injuries on the traveler's body. Food and rest," the traveler mumbled. Despite the weakness of his voice, the girl heard him. All right, sir, just stay awake," the girl said, while trying to help the man up. As she reached behind him to help him stand up, she heard the clothes rip. She turned to see the damage as she noticed something. She gasped and dropped the traveler by accident, causing the hood the man was wearing to drop. That was when the girl noticed all of the traveler's extra appendages. A fox tail waving in the breeze and fox ears that twitched every once in a while. That was the beginning of a story of when the demon boy met his angel. Mount Myoboku. Light shined through the trees that seemed to flourish all around. The breeze that swept through the landscape seemed to whisper soothing sounds that would make one feel at peace. The area was simply overflowing with nature, and one could literally feel the tingle in the air due to the energies that the surrounding exuded. On the ground, a red-headed boy laid unconscious. His whisker marks were more pronounced than previously before. His fox ears twitching at every noise that was made, and his tails laid on the ground, twitching slightly. After a while, the boy began to shift in his sleep until he started to wake up from his slumber. Groggily he opened his eyes and started to straighten his dizzy spell. As his eyes stopped spinning, he shakily stood up and inspected his surroundings. Big weird trees, check. Abundance of nature chakra, check. A mess of various sizes of toads charging at him, check. Yup, he was where he needed to be. Mount Myoboku. Quickly he shifted his ears and tails and hid them as to not bring about any questions. Just then, he felt a big impact on the ground that shook his body. Turning his body, he saw 3 humongous toads. One of them had a pipe and a scar in his mouth, which he recognized as the same toad that he vaguely remember fighting. The second one held some sort of frying pan, shield thing. The third one had 2 giant swords behind his back making the shape of an X. On the ground, there were 2 elderly-looking toads that looked like infants if it wasn't for their wrinkles. They might have seemed harmless, but he could sense the nature energy building up inside them. It was interesting to see how the toads managed to obtain the power that the Sage of 6 Paths once held. But not to the degree the sage could. Naruto quickly shook his head to prevent himself from reminiscing. He had other things to worry about, like having to deal with a mass of heavily armed toads. Joy. Internally sighing at his predicament, he raised his hand in declaration of peace, or whatever the hell it meant. That did not stop the biggest toad with a giant knife from sweeping down in an effort to slice or in the size of the blade's case, smash the fox made human. Naruto was impassive at looking at the scene before him. He just raised an eyebrow at the attack and lifted his hand holding a simple kunai with the end pointing directly at the blade. With a mighty cling, the impact could be felt in waves. The dirt that was around the man blew away in all directions and the ground shook below the man. The toad's eyes widened as they all saw and felt the impact of the giant blade. The elder toads Ma and Pa looked at the strange newcomer in wonder. The boy couldn't have been older than 13 and showed no struggle against the giant blade, he wasn't even panting. On closer inspection, they noticed something off about the boy. Besides his heterochromic eyes, for an instant, they could feel nature energy flowing through his body just enough to be able to parry the blade. They were amazed at the split concentration and the control and consumption of the nature chakra that the boy was exuding. What was even more impressive was that he showed no noticeable changes to his body besides his eyes giving off a light glow and his hair standing up slightly. Quickly snapping out of their trance, they decided to confront the boy. There were too many questions that needed to be answered. "Who are you, boy? How did you get to this mountain?" Pa yelled to the boy. Naruto just tilted his head a bit. The action made him seem a bit innocent while inside he was debating with himself. There were multiple ways he could go through with his next action. He could be honest and tell them the truth, but then that would mean that they would start getting anxious about seeing the supposed Kyuubi. But that would also bring up too many questions that he would not want to answer, and then there's the whole, "I just used nature chakra like it was nothing" thing that he just did. He also couldn't tell them exactly how he got there. How would they react if he told them that he basically almost crushed their summoner and then borrowed the scroll and then traced the chakra to the location? Well, it was too much explaining too. The second way he could go was say that he was the perverted Senin student, but honestly, he would rather go with the first choice than the latter. The current Toad Sage was pathetic in his eyes. He needed to go to brothels and peek on women in bath houses just to get his rocks on. That was no way a sage should be acting. Though he was being a bit of a hypocrite. The Sage of Six Paths was not a saint either, rather the sage was pretty lax when it came to that. Well, behind doors, that is. The sage was very childish at times but was responsible. But plainly moving on, it would bring up too much trouble because he doesn't know the current master at the time. Then there was the third choice, the most reasonable one in his mind. He could pretend to be a different sage than the one they know. Rather than focusing on their sage arts with involved toad-based techniques, he could claim to be a different sage. A fox sage maybe? But that would still bring up the issue of how he learned it. But then again, they don't really have a grasp of all nature chakra could do, so it may work. "My name is Naruto, and I'm a sage, I guess. I just followed the nature chakra and it led me here," he said, a bit sheepish, hoping that it would work. The toads stared at the redhead for a while. The sage arts were very hard and incredibly dangerous technique to learn and to master. To see a young boy such as the person standing before them was astounding. "How did you get control of nature energy?" Ma Toad cried out. How should I explain this? Well, I was born and had a high compatibility with nature for some reason, bloodline maybe. I was abandoned in the forest and forged for myself. I gained awareness through the forest by living there. That's probably why I can control it so well. It became part of my normal life, a necessity to live most likely," Naruto said. It was an idea that had no support but couldn't be easily disapproved either. It had its drawbacks but its potential also. It would be enough to pass the hoax. But that shouldn't be possible. I'm sure there have been people in the past with similar predicaments but none of them gained control on nature chakra. Even if they did, it'd be a 1 in a million chance, Pa said. "Well, you're looking at that millionth person because I can use it, I can control it, and you yourself witnessed it, so there's no denying that I can use it," Naruto said. They couldn't really deny that accusation. Even if it was a snowball's chance in hell, there was still that chance. Nature had a way of making the impossible things happen. Just looking around, humans were a prime example. They grew, they adapted, and they developed as a society. They were capable of great evil just as much as they were capable of great kindness. Humans, such strange creatures, no claws, no fur, just skin and whatever they could get their hands on. And yet they grew to be one of the top species. Gathering their thoughts back up, the elder toads decided to change their questions. They weren't going to get to the bottom of that question because there were too many variables. "Then tell us, Why are you here, and how did you get here? The toad with a pipe in its mouth said. Don't really know, I felt the mass of nature chakra here and there were two ways I could go. The other way felt cold. That wasn't giving me any reason to go towards the other way, so I came here. As to how I got here, I walked, Naruto said. A complete lie. Everything he was doing and saying was so that he could get what he wanted. Of course, living for thousands of years, one becomes familiar with the things around him, such as how many creatures can use nature chakra and to what point, also the locations of some of the most famous places and any hidden treasures that Naruto might have hidden here and there. So you let nature guide you? Ma Toad said. It sounded like a preposterous idea, but again, nature could not be understood at times. That's right. Now that I'm here, may I talk to Head Honcho? I'm sure it will shed light on why I was brought here, Naruto said. We have no idea what you might be looking for, but maybe the great Elder Toad Sage might be able to help, Pa Toad said. Thank you very much, Naruto said politely. The mountain was a very peculiar place from what Naruto had observed. It seemed that the nature chakra had affected both the animals and the environment. From afar he could see many stone statues of what appeared to be toads. Poor fools, trying to wield a power beyond their understanding. From what he sensed, there was a culmination of nature chakra, very diluted, given liquid form. He assumed that that was the first step towards their training. The two older toads started leading him more far into the mountain, as it seemed that the location was somewhat secluded. Eventually arriving at a big building, the two small toads lead him towards an altar where the Elder Toad Sage sat. The Elder Toad Sage gazed at Naruto. He seemed deep in thought before talking. Ah, a natural nature chakra user, it's been a long time, the Elder Toad Sage said, startling the other toads. Since when was the old geezer not senile? Leave at once, this is a private matter, the Sage Toad said. The toads looked at each other before nodding and departing, leaving the young boy and the Sage Toad alone. The toad couldn't help but let a smile form on his face. It had been a long time since he had, and the whole senile episode wasn't helping either. But in reality, he didn't expect to meet this man-air boy again. It's been far too long, Kurama, or are you going by Naruto now? The Sage Toad said. Holy crap, is that you, Gama-chan? Kami, you're old. Can't believe you're still alive and well, still crazy. Naruto exclaimed, feeling a bit relieved. Who would have thought he would see someone familiar? I feel the same way. It's been over 100 years, and I was still just a young toad back then. When I had heard you were sealed, I thought I might never see you again, old friend. The toad responded, although a bit offended at the old and senile jokes. They tend to get old. You too, I'm going by Naruto now. Kurama was the name the Rakudo Sennin gave me, but I'm using my real name once more. But enough about me. I'm surprised you made it so far. What happened to the little toad that used to be so crazy that I thought he was insane and would always follow me whenever I took my human form? You're a senjutsu user and apparently can give accurate prophecies. Time waits for no one, I suppose, Naruto said. Indeed. You have missed much of the world around you. Let me guess, you figured you'd have more better of an understanding of humans if you got sealed inside one, didn't you? The toad sighed. Right in one. My time inside humans has been very informative. Well, not so much informative, but rather reinforced what I already knew. Humans are sad creatures, my old friend. The good are too few and far in between to do anything about it. The fox turned human said. The great Toad Sage cracked his eyes open and responded. Humans fear the unknown. We both know that. They fear what they don't understand, what they can't see, what they can't control. They destroy what they can't obtain, and they betray those they are most faithful to. Though they are capable of great good, they are even more capable of greater evil. There are those that are untouched by the hands of hatred, but they usually bear the greatest burden, and it leads to their own undoing. Naruto stayed quiet for a while. He knew what he was talking about. He had met many people during his lifetime. He had met men that would fight an army by himself, women that would lead their homes to prosperity, husbands that would protect their homes from demons, and wives that would challenge godlike beings to protect her children. He met all of them, yet many fell to betrayal, sadness, and to their own weaknesses. He had traveled with many of them, comforted them on the way, rescued their lives number of times, but in the end it was all for nothing. Their towns would exile them, their kingdoms would hang them, their religions would execute them, until the place became too corrupt. He needed to act. He would destroy. He destroyed that which threatened the balance of the world. He would kill thousands to save millions. He took no pride in it, it earned him infamy. But he didn't care. Humans had already been at the brink of their own demise many times, and he qualified the reset button in the crudest manner. Obliteration. Or in this case, removing the poison before it can infect the whole body, even if it meant removing a limb. Humans are like sheep. Stupid creatures blindly following one another, uncaring about those that fall behind or the rare black sheep that is spawned. They need their masters to follow or fall into anarchy. Even if the chosen master is little more than another sheep. The black sheep is rare and the black sheep is special. It can hide better from its predator, and for that the white sheep envy the black sheep, and grow to detest it. The different should be forsaken. The pack is only as strong as its number, so when the black sheep is forced to fend for itself, Naruto let the sentence run. You're the black sheep shepherd, you nurture them until they decide to leave, the elder sage said. That's true, isn't it? The black sheep gather to me, they flock towards me, I offer them guidance and they offer me their companionship. But eventually all roads separate, and the sheep must separate from the shepherd. Whether they meet again or not is up to them, Naruto concluded. It's never easy, is it? The elder toad sage said. When is it ever? I just want to get to the end of the road. Now, do you mind telling me the road of the my newest charge? I know for a fact she's the child of prophecy. The Shinigami told me that. But from what I understand, it changed when I was sealed inside. What's the new prophecy? Naruto asked. The elder toad sage sighed and started to recount the prophecy. The child of prophecy was said to be a teacher of Jiraiya, who was supposed to bring a great revolution to the ninja world and based on his actions would determine the world's salvation or destruction. Now, the child of prophecy will be a student of the one who was once one with the Rakudo Sennin. The child surrounded by hate and fear will be guided by the hands of destruction, will bring salvation. The child, with the power to do the impossible, will be a beacon to those that still follow the light, the toad sage said. TCH, was that an obvious point at me or just the universe and Kami messing with me? Another student, such misfortune, Naruto thought. Kami really is trying to mess with me now. How unlike her to start involving me. Well, she owes me a favor, and I'm damn well collecting. Naruto muttered. Damn them. He wished that the Shinigami had explained at least a bit before sealing him, but no, just a conversation and a Kami and Shinigami OU1 coupon. One doesn't live a life of immortality without meeting the higher plane of existences. It was weird at first, but apparently they couldn't actually interfere with his life. The actions that made him immortal were through human means which could not be helped. Though they did try to kill him a few times before he decided to get a joyride to heaven and talk to the Big Ma'am herself. It was awesome too. After a few world-destroying attacks were sent at him by various gods, he finally got a word in edgewise. Before they sealed him, he would sometimes be summoned against his will for some tea. In the back of his mind, he thought they just liked to mess with him, they were fickle and petty like that. And I will come back to this, just later in the story. Enough about that. What will you guys do? Will you guys stand by me or will you be with your summoner? Naruto asked the old geezer. Unfortunately, a contract is binding unless there's a good reason to annul it. So if you're an enemy of the summoner, we must fight you, as hesitant as we might be, the toad said. It's okay. I'll just have to work around it. I should probably be heading back to Kasumi. She's probably going to wake up soon. Until we meet again, Gama-chan. Naruto said as he waved at the toad disappearing in a swirl of chakra. The toad looked at the ground where his fox friend stood. He couldn't help but feel sad. You've lived a long life, my friend, but your final act draws near. In my vision I saw you fading away into nothingness. I hope you accomplish your promise by then. The toad sage thought while switching to his senile self. Hey, messing with people is fun. Uzumaki Kasumi wasn't a very smart person, she could admit that to herself. She didn't understand a lot of things and couldn't read the tension in the air at all, but if anything she relied on her gut. The basic instinct that all living things have was the way she based her attitude on. If she didn't feel like the person was good, she would be wary of them. If she felt comfortable around someone, she allowed herself a bit of relaxation. At the moment she had woken up and she stared at the sky, she could remember her earlier memories as a child. She actually didn't trust anyone except a very few people back then, but her other self had some sort of commitment that she could change the opinion of everybody that saw her as less than useless. Her gut back then told her that it was stupid of her to believe that, but she needed a reason to look forward, at least one more day. Her gut instincts were always right, but she just ignored them. But at the present, she felt like crap. She was more insightful now, she knew that. Her thoughts weren't jumbled up like before. But she couldn't get over the fact that even though her instincts told her that she shouldn't have trusted the toad Sanin, but she did. When she was pushed off the cliff, she saw her life flash before her eyes, and it wasn't a pretty sight. Part of her wondered how it would turn out if she became like that Gara guy. Though there was one thing she would regret if she had died at that time. It was that Naruto aka the Kyuubi would die with her. Though in a sick and twisted way, she was happy that she would die with someone she could consider her nearest and dearest. But when she suddenly opened her eyes expecting to either see heaven or hell, she was on top of the most fluffiest fur she ever felt. She was pretty confused at that point. But when she was put on the ground and she turned around to see the Kyuubi, out of its cage, well, most people would either be screaming murder or faint, but not her. Oh no, she did just what you think she would. She demanded answers. Now thinking about it, it did seem pretty crazy. It wasn't until she started realizing something was going on with his body did she stop her motor-mouth self. But then when its or rather his body started taking a humanoid figure did she feel her breathe hitch. She spotted the humanoid version of her dearest friend and would admit, he was attractive. She particularly liked his orange-red hair. His eyes were strange but yet had a mystical aura about them. One eye socket held the most beautiful ruby-colored shade of red she had ever seen, like the deepest crimson or the most bloodiest red. The other socket held the intriguing color of amethyst she could have found. Like a shining crystal or like when the sky was smeared with the same color, she couldn't help but be drawn in. On a side note, the fox ears and tails were to die for, but she would most likely use them for cuddling if she ever got close enough to him. Then she started processing the information in her head. Her most closest friend was handsome, scratch that he was the most handsome guy she had met in her life. It did help that most of the boys she knew were total assholes. Then she started going over their conversations, and when he couldn't contact her, she acted like a desperate girlfriend trying to find her boyfriend that she thought was cheating on her or something. And when she finally spoke to him, she actually tried to scold him for not being able to talk to her, like some wife or something. It also didn't help that she was in her teenage years and her mind was overflowing with hormones and pent-up anger and stress. It became too much to her. She fainted. God, that was embarrassing. She thought as she wrapped the soft fur that covered her and made herself more comfortable. It took her about 10 minutes to realize that she had fainted in the woods. How the hell did she have something to cover herself up with? She immediately jumped up, taking aware of her surroundings. She looked around and found that she was in a forest, the forest of death actually. She looked around but found no one. Before she could think, she was hauled up into the air, feeling something constrict her stomach. After snapping out of her dizziness from being turned upside down so suddenly, she felt herself move towards the tree that was behind her. She saw the figure and quickly saw the most noticeable features, the fox ears and tails. She could feel herself blushing, or maybe it was the blood rushing towards her head, but in any case she felt more self-aware about herself. But she quickly squashed any romantic thoughts. She wasn't a damn flower, she wasn't a fangirl. She was Uzumaki fucking Kasumi. Hey, what's the big idea? Let me go, you oomph, she cried out, suddenly being dropped. You got your wish, Chibiheim. Naruto bowed comically. Teme. You wait, Naruto? Kasumi asked. Right in one, Kasumi. Naruto said, helping the girl up. Who? How? What? When? Kasumi asked frantically. In order, I'm Naruto the Kyuubi. It was the consequence of me forcing myself through the seal to save your life, by what I'm assuming how I got this body. Well, like I told you before, I was once human. This was my human form, though I am younger. All this happened about 12 hours ago when a super pervert shoved you down a cliff. Does that answer your question? Naruto asked. Really, he just couldn't help but be amused at the former Jinchuriki. It didn't explain it at all. Kasumi thought. Really, her head was still trying to catch up to what she was seeing. This had opened up a whole new dimension of possibilities in her head. They could train together, eat together, talk face to face and enjoy their time together like regular people, not as a giant fox and a lonely girl. And it did not involve any sort of cuddling with those fluffy tails, not one bit. Yes, no, well. Just forget it. So what are we going to do? Kasumi decided, sitting cross-legged on the ground. She wasn't much on thinking, she preferred to have something smashed with her fist. Leave the thinking to the smart people and let the explodey people to explode. Well, for now, since it's night time, we'll go to sleep. Tomorrow, we'll start training you. Now that I have a body, I can teach you in a more direct manner. Naruto said with a smile. Of course, what he didn't know was that that smile was more like a fox-like grin. If Kasumi weren't his student, she would have blushed a bit at how fox-like Naruto was, but at the moment, she could feel herself become pale. The exercises were crazy, but now she had a personal trainer watching her. She was scared all right, but part of her didn't want to disappoint him. She said, not realizing that it was nighttime. She looked at the sky and noticed the stars. It was a spectacular sight. So many stars shining down on them, it was beautiful all right. Come on, let's get to bed, you have a very busy schedule for the next few weeks, Naruto said, chuckling to himself. But, Kasumi started saying, she really wanted to look at the stars. No sooner had she said that did several tails wrap around her and lifted her off the ground. Hey! Kasumi screamed. You need sleep. You don't realize it, but you've been awake for a few days now and your body is showing signs of sleep deprivation. Now you're going to sleep even if I have to make you, Naruto said, not letting go of Kasumi. Unfortunately, Kasumi took it as a challenge, and she hates losing. Oh no you don't. She started thrashing around, waving her hands and legs in sporadic movements. She wasn't sleepy. Well, maybe she wanted to rest her eyes, but that's it. Of course, Naruto knew how to deal with children, he might as well treat her as one. He threw her up into the air, and as she came down, shouting the whole way, he caught her and gripped each limb and gave her a bear hug. Eep! Kasumi let out when she realized how she was placed. She was wrapped comfortably with his tails and placed between his legs. His arms were around her stomach while she had her head on his chest. You're sleeping right now, Naruto stated. It was an order, not a choice. But, screw it, you're too comfortable, Kasumi stated while adjusting herself. She knew she was fighting a losing battle, might as well go with the flow. At least this way she had a pillow and a fluffy blanket. She drifted off to sleep quicker than one would expect. Naruto looked up at the stars and whispered to himself. At least the stars haven't changed much. It was always your favorite view, Riku. He drifted off soon after. The next day was different for the two. After a quick breakfast and an awkward silence, they decided to start training. Alright, today, I'll be teaching you taijutsu, or rather I'll be teaching you the barest essentials of it today, Naruto said, with a pile of rocks by his side. Which is, Kasumi said, getting a feeling of dread. Suddenly something passed by her head. She turned her head and saw there was a hole in a tree behind her. Growing pale, she turned around and gave her a disbelieving look. It's blocking and dodging, Naruto said smiling. Oh, you have got to be shitting me, Kasumi said horrified. I shit you not. What better way to learn than with excruciating pain? Okay, we'll be starting in 3, 2.1. Wait a second. Go. Holy shit, she screamed. A rock flew by her shoulder, leaving a scratch on it. You jerk, pervert, jackass. Rock hit her forehead. Sonaba, you did that on purpose, Kasumi yelled. Oh yeah, she was pissed. It was the basics of the basics. Kasumi's taijutsu was shot to hell and it wasn't something she could learn by just listening. But before she could even begin to train in any form, she needed to build up her base. Of course, dodging and blocking were the basics of anything. Kasumi's body was sturdy and had great pain tolerance, but she was too sluggish to compete with any higher tier enemies that used internal damage type moves, much like the Hyuga's Juken. Since there wasn't going to be enough time to learn any actual taijutsu stances, he was going to train her reaction time. She was best when she used unpredictable sporadic plans, aka just winging it. Kasumi swore every time she was hit. As Kami was her witness, she swore that she would get revenge on Naruto. She didn't know when or how, but she was damn well going to do it. Women know how to hold a grudge after all. After that, Naruto brought out a stick and challenged her to a kenjutsu match. Needless to say, she was beaten up with a stick. God damn it, why does that hurt so bad? She thought. Naruto was using a thin stick that wasn't anything dangerous, but it stung like hell. Naruto had corrected a lot of mistakes she was making, like stepping into the opponent's area of attack carelessly and how to improve her footwork. You, shit, Jack, I can't even think of anything I haven't called you yet. You're evil, Kasumi yelled panting. Hey, you wanted training, I'm just giving you what you want. Besides, if you turn out anything like my last student, you'll be remembered forever, Naruto said. You had another student? Kasumi said surprised. Well, only one official student, I had a lot more but I just offered advice now and again, Naruto said casually. Then why are you training me? Kasumi asked. It was the truth. She didn't know why Naruto would train her, sure she had a crazy family tree but Naruto apparently trained legends. Out of everyone in the world, how come she was picked? Let's see, it's probably because you remind me of them, Naruto said. She said confused. I admit, I don't know you as well as I did the rest but I learned what to look for in a person. You're selfless, you'll help those you call your friend, you're dense and stupid, but have a good heart. You're also stubborn and hard-headed but kind and a bit obsessive over ramen. Naruto said. Hey. But, you refuse to give up even when the world is crashing around you. You'll help people when they fall and always looking for the good in people, Naruto finished. Kasumi's face turned red. Honestly, she wasn't complimented often and Naruto just listed a good number of them. It was embarrassing to say the least but at least she knew how he saw her. Thanks Tebeo, Kasumi said, and turned red at her verbal tick. It was even worse because Naruto laughed at it. Hey, stop laughing. Kasumi childishly beat on his chest, Naruto just laughed even harder. Kasumi decided to pout and look away, she didn't want Naruto to see she was smiling. It was what she had wanted, to spend time with a friend, having fun and at each other's throats. She was thankful for his companionship and friendship. Her life has been getting better since she met him and even if she was hated by the villagers, as long as Naruto stayed by her, she couldn't help but think it would be okay. After the first few days of dodging, Naruto decided that he could leave a shadow clone in his place. He needed to get a few things. Just then, he felt a familiar surge of energy towards the east. Kasumi, I'm going to go arrange a few things. I'll be back in a while, Naruto commented. Kasumi looked at the foxboy for a bit in hesitation, but she gave a nod to him. She trusted him with her life, but there are things that he needs to do, he couldn't be her babysitter. Come back soon. Kasumi responded. I'll do that, Naruto said, before vanishing in a swirl of leaves. Leaving Kasumi alone, she wondered what she was going to do. She had a day off so she might as well visit the people that mattered to her. She was going to visit the Ichirakus and eat as much as she could and visit Makoto Obasan. For the first time in a while she left the forest of death and walked towards the village that despised her. Far east from Konohagakure, a civil war was taking place. Yagura, the Yondaime Mizukage, was on a rampage. For a few days now, his thoughts and actions were unpredictable. But now, he seemed to be going on a rampage. In the water-surrounded village of Kirigakure, widespread destruction riddled the lands. What had started as a bloodline purge was now turning into a massacre of a shinobi village, by its own cage no less. Damn it, what the hell is going on with him? One day he's a good cage, then a bloodline racist and now he's just batshit crazy. Back in my day, a one-eyed eye-patch wearing blue-haired guy said. Ow, for God's sake shut up or I'll kill you, said a busty auburn-colored haired woman said. Normally she would have been more calm but the Yondaime Mizukage had been going on a rampage non-stop for days now and now it seemed that he wanted everything to fall. Mme-sama, over there, a boy with pointy teeth holding a big weapon said. He pointed at the giant turtle that was tearing through houses and destroying all enemies, regardless of which side was which. He's taken Sanbi's full form. Retreat! Mei yelled. Against a Bijuu, they had no hope, they had planned to deal with that in a few months but at that point they were not ready. Her Yotan nor Fudan bloodline wouldn't help much and would only serve as a distraction at best. Right now, all they could hope for was to stay alive and fight another day. But before they could move, a huge shadow loomed over them. Turning around, they saw Sanbi with his tails poised to attack. In a savage assault of repeated attacks, the ground was full with holes everywhere. The survivors of the onslaught could only shake in fear. The power of a Bijuu was frightening. Mei, for all her efforts, managed to escape with several cuts and bruises. She looked up to see a mass of chakra. Sickly purple chakra in front of her. She knew that attack, it was a Bijuu-dama. She sunk to her knees at that moment. There was no way she could overpower a Bijuu-dama. Hell, not even with all of their combined efforts, at best half the village would be gone. Just as Sanbi was about to release his attack, everyone heard a voice. ISOBU. A voice rang through the whole village. Sanbi suddenly stopped its attack. Everyone, even Sanbi, turned their heads. They saw a boy standing on destroyed debris which reached Sanbi's eyes. Everyone just stared at the boy, who had enough balls to look at a freaking Bijuu in the eyes. And what did the boy do? Yo, he said casually, as if he was asking about the weather. They were all surprised when they heard Sanbi. Keiku, Kurama, it stuttering out as if it could barely form words. It's been a while, hasn't it, Oto? Naruto said. A fight against a natural disaster. Some time had passed since he met the red-headed girl. She was, well, he had no words to describe her. Maybe unpredictable was the best word to use, maybe unique. But all he knew was that for some reason she was dedicated to following him, for what he had no idea. Come on, it's no fun if you don't say a single thing. Say something, Naruto. She screamed at him. In all honesty, he was better without her, but he couldn't exactly tell her that. She was far too interesting for a human, if she was human to begin with. And then I went like, whoosh. And then I fell. But other than that I still can't figure it out. Come on, Naruto, help me out like last time, she said pleadingly. I'm afraid that my power and yours are quite different, as I've already told you. Your magic do-it-all energy, as you've named it, is entirely different. You have to figure it out on your own, Riku. Naruto told his bothersome companion. But last time you told me I found out what I could do. Come on, will you at least point me in the right direction? Please, please, please. Otherwise I won't stop talking about those brats of yours, as you call them. The now named Riku said haughtily as she pointed her nose to the sky in smugness. Naruto's eye twitched. How could he have forgotten about those children of hers? So young, and she already had 2 boys, not by her choice obviously. Ever since he got her out of that shrine prison she had been following him. He might have called it hero worship, but she was anything but a follower. She wouldn't stop talking about those brats of hers. She mothered them rotten. Though they were still infants, she had been thrilled when she found them and saddened when she had to leave them to come to their current adventure of a lifetime, as she proudly proclaimed to the heavens. He asked himself whether or not it was a good idea to free her. Fine. He relented. He didn't want to hear anything about the kids. He asked himself how in the world could she keep talking about them if they were barely born. Yada! She yelled out, pumping her hands in triumph. He looked at the eccentric adult, young lady maybe, doing some kind of weird happy dance that involved various props from out of nowhere. That made no sense. How the hell did she get them? He kept wondering about her powers. He could immediately tell what it was. It was raw power, both physical and spiritual powers combined and given a state of matter that she could produce. It was a mystery to him how she acquired them. Maybe it was a genetic mutation, but he wasn't sure. But he could tell the power behind was limitless. But that power could also be dangerous, just like a fire or a hurricane. If not contained or prepared for the consequences, it could be disastrous. It could not be left in the hands of the humans. They had already brought a beast of immeasurable power that sleeps even now. He would not let the only chance he might have to gain power slip from his grasp. And the person that had the powers was a klutz, hot-headed, and frankly stupid. It made no sense. How could a power like that be entrusted to her? Where had that power come from? Who gave it to her? What was its potential? Many questions ran through his head, but unfortunately they were silenced by Riku, whom seemed to notice he wasn't paying attention to her, which made her angry for some reason. Bam! Damn it! Stop with that itchy trigger finger you call a hand! Naruto yelled out, rubbing his head. It hurt a lot for some reason. He would have retaliated if he wasn't aware that he thought too much. HN. Shows you, never ignore me, or I'll make your life extra hard. Believe it? She scoffed at him, avoiding eye contact. She always got flustered when he attempted to stare into her eyes. If you keep doing that, it's going to become a verbal tic, you know. Naruto pointed out. He noticed from time to time she repeated some odd words that had no meaning. It always made her self-conscious whenever she used them. No way, like, it will never happen, she said, apparently flustered at her screw-up. Who knows, it might be passed down to your children, Naruto commented. As if, I'll never let that happen, she yelled out. By the way, for your next exercise for your magic do-it-all energy, try to get things to stick to you. If you can make your body stronger with it, Then your body can do many more things with that power. It's just a matter of experimenting, Naruto said. Hey, don't change the subject, Riku cried out. In order to do that, Teme. She yelled out. Yes, darling, Naruto commented back with a sweet voice, earning the girl's flustered response. Why you? Don't say that, it's embarrassing, she said, her face becoming as red as her hair. How about honey? No, sweetie, not on your life. Angel? Fuck you. You would love that, wouldn't you? NNGH. Her face grew even redder as she stomped off, ignoring the evil laugh from her traveling companion. He just loved to get her flustered, he wouldn't admit it, but she grew on him, just a bit, a teeny-weeny bit. He enjoyed her company, very few times, most of the time she was annoying. It wasn't her fault she fell for him, he knew it too and he constantly picked on her for that. She'd get him back for it though, she just had to think of how. Maybe, yes, maybe if she could get him to fall for her, then she could get him all hot and bothered like she was right now. Then she could seduce him and make him make love to her and then have a happy life Togewo. She shook the thought of, damn her imagination, damn the man who saved her, damn him for his personality, the personality that seemed cruel but was actually kind and willing to help for no reason. He tried to play the bad guy on her many times to get her away from himself, but she could see through that. He wanted her away from him so she wouldn't get hurt. He knew he was going on a path through self-destruction and didn't want anyone along for the ride. He was suicidal. He didn't give a damn about his life if he could save someone else even if they hated him for being a demon. His selflessness was probably what attracted her to him in the first place. She knew her body was desirable, if it wasn't for the various holy priests as they called themselves that forced themselves upon her thinking that they were worthy of her body or the various passerbys they ran into on the road, how they leered at her body hungrily with lust-filled eyes. Honestly, it scared her half the time. It reminded her of her days in that jail they called a shrine. They were very attentive to her figure, believing that she should look like a very desirable maiden to appease the gods. She unconsciously moved her hands through her body. Her long red hair that moved like silk, her very ample bust that caught many wandering eyes' attention, her curvy figure, her apparently cute face, she honestly thought her body wasn't worth the attention. She at first thought he would be all over her like the priest, and remained at arm's length of him. Despite being her rescuer, she still feared him for his species, a demon. Then when he blatantly ignored her and didn't even spare a glance, it annoyed her for some reason. Then she tried to be affectionate, and he turned even colder than snow. After departing, or rather she followed him for some reason she wasn't sure herself, she saw the deeds that he did. He didn't come to rescue her for some reward. She was half expecting him to tell her to spread her legs in all honesty, or for some self-proclaimed hero. He was just there, all a coincidence. When she asked him why he rescued her, she wasn't expecting the words to be, why not? It stumped her. No hero talk, no mission to save a damsel, no mating, as she would assume a demon would do. It was all just a coincidence. He followed his own justice on could say, his own conviction. If he had the power to help, he would. Just as simple as that. No right or wrong, black or white, nothing, just fight for what he believed in, and if turned bad, he would say he wouldn't regret it because it was his choice to make, his alone. It inspired her, the demon or man whatever he was had a way of life not many would take, and she looked up to him. She followed him and saw the power of his conviction, fighting even when they shunned him after rescuing someone. But he didn't care. She slowly started falling for him, she wasn't sure when or how but she just was. He changed her life, her views and her heart, and for the better. When she found out her powers, she was ecstatic, she would be able to help him, but he just laughed and told her she wasn't ready. But she was stubborn, she wanted to be acknowledged by him, so she trained her body, but it didn't go as she hoped. She honestly had no idea how to start, so she asked him. She knew she wasn't smart, being confined made her very oblivious and had to put it bluntly, no originality. Naruto told her she had talent but she didn't know how to draw it out. So he tested the power. He asked her to let it envelop her body. As she did she could feel her body tense, but she grew tired quickly from expelling the power. Then he asked her to keep it in her body but spread it through her body. She did just that, but there was a problem. He touched her all over. He was examining what it did to her body, but every time he touched or breathed on her, it made her hot and bothered. After a while, he told her to punch a sapling. Much to her relief, but she didn't expect the result. She broke it. Sure, it was pretty thin, but she wasn't expecting it to topple over. She knew she wasn't strong, but the result was more devastating than they both thought. She cried out in victory, proclaiming she could take anyone. Naruto said she was being an idiot and she was getting arrogant. She frowned and challenged him, believing her new powers could kick ass. And ass was kicked. Unfortunately, it was hers. Then he reprimanded her, saying that power was useless without the control and skill. She sulked for the rest of the day until Naruto brought her favorite food to cheer her up, though he wouldn't admit it. He would say that he got it from the spur of the moment. That's what she liked about him, hard on the outside, but a total sweetheart on the inside, and she wanted it for herself, in his comforting embrace. Her body meant nothing to him, that was for sure. Even if he said that she should leave, she knew that he knew that she wouldn't leave. He may have an ulterior motive of her powers, but in all honesty she didn't care. She liked him too much to care. She knew he wouldn't hurt her intentionally. That's why she was ready to give it all to him, her body and soul, and hopefully her heart. The tale of the demon and his angel continues, outskirts of Kirigakure. Naruto rubbed his head for a while. He could have sworn he passed out for a second and took a trip down memory lane, but he shook it off. There was no time to be thinking about the past at the moment. Right now he had to fight his little brother. In a human form, with human powers, sometimes it sucked to be him. The stupid turtle he called his technical brother Isobu threw a bunch of building and debris at him. He dodged them, but a rock hit him in the chin, and a quick knockout before he woke up again. He forgot how weak a human body was. It wasn't even a flesh wound and he still got knocked out. He righted himself in the air and landed on a long deformed pole that stuck out of the ground. He looked around curiously, as if he had just arrived. He had actually. He looked everywhere and seemed like Isobu went on a rampage, which was strange because he was one of the more passive Bijoos. Even if it was the human container's influence, he would never lend his strength to him if it meant causing blind destruction. He looked to his right and in the distance saw a bunch of people scrambling to get away while the beast was distracted. One figure stood out from all of them as she looked battered but still willing to fight. He couldn't help but smile at the person's willpower. But that had to end. Being suicidal was good from time to time, but being stupidly suicidal was not. "Hey, get out of here!" he screamed out, pointing in the opposite direction of the charging turtle Bijuu. Mei Terumi, leader of the rebellion, looked at the what seemed to be a teenager giving her orders. She would have ignored him at first, but she had to face the facts. She was dead tired, sore, and mentally exhausted. She was in no condition to fight, and the boy seemed to be able to hold his own, and apparently Sanbi had something against him, so it might work in their favor, but she really couldn't leave it at that. It was their fight, not his. They had been fighting for years, and out of nowhere the teenager in front of them swoops in to steal the show. Whether it was intentional or not, it reeked something foul in her head. He might have been taking advantage of the situation and weakening Kirigakure by not interfering in the past, or he could be seeking to capture the Sanbi, or he could have been the puppet master to Yagura all the time, but she had no evidence. She was about to tell him off because honestly, she was too tired to care about appearances, especially when her clothes was currently ripped and torn from various places. But she knew she stood no chance to a Bijuu, especially when their seal master died yesterday. Thus the only way to kill the Bijuu was to kill Yagura, who was going berserk. Even if the person did try to capture the Bijuu, she knew she couldn't do anything to stop it, either lose a Bijuu and win the war or lose her life and have a captured Bijuu. "Don't die," she yelled out. Really, what else could she say? "Thank you for letting us run with our tails between our legs? Or thank you for taking our Bijuu?" She shook her head. She was starting to get a headache. Maybe she should rethink her earlier conversation with the rebels about becoming the Mizukage after the war. She really didn't want to deal with the headache that she would get from it. As they started leaving, Naruto tilted his head and mumbled, "What an odd thing to say." Looking at his brother Bijuu, who seemed to struggle between waiting patiently and going berserk, he dusted himself off from imaginary dust. "So are you ready, Isobu? I may not have Yuki right now, but my human body should be good enough to be able to take a Bijuu on." Isobu let out a loud bellow that sent a shockwave, creating waves throughout the battlefield. It lifted itself and began to roll towards Naruto, its spiky shell crushing anything and everything in its path. "You and our siblings always wanted to fight me for some reason. Even you, one of the most passive, would get excited to fight me. Well, there's no helping it. As the oldest, it's my responsibility to discipline you guys. Come!" Naruto yelled out, facing the giant rolling turtle. It was truly man against nature. Konohagakure, Kasumi was running through the village, ignoring the glares and the occasional whisper, which was far less than usual. She assumed it was because they didn't want the foreigners to hear about their good deeds they did to Kasumi. The villagers knew it was bad what they were doing, but hatred is like that, illogical and corrupts even the most noble under the right conditions. She was currently running towards her apartment complex to see the manager Makoto Uchiha. She was the landlord for the place. After the Uchiha massacre she hadn't been the same. She still went on with her life, but she seemed so hollow. Her other, as she decided to name it, was around but never involved as much as she should have been. Only chats every once in a while, payments for the building, and her other was oblivious when the women needed someone to talk to. Actually, she wondered why Sasuke was never around, or rather why was he living apart. "Hello, Makoto Bossen," she yelled out, charging in like the idiot she was supposed to be acting as. It seemed that Jiraiya was still knocked out, or he was peeking on girls again, because if he wasn't then she would have Anbu after her cute little ass. Yes, she was confident in her own body. It was one of the few things that she had control over. Makoto Uchiha looked up from her blank stare as the charging blonde stopped right in front of her and gave her a wide grin while calling out her name. The girl always seemed to find a way to cheer her up. Makoto couldn't help but give a melancholy smile every time she saw the girl. It brought up many mistakes she made in the past. While she wasn't Kushina's closest friend, she was close enough to argue against some of her more crazy ideas she had in what she called her brain. She, like many of Kasumi's parents' friends, pretty much ignored or remained, or rather forced themselves to turn a blind eye to the child's suffering. In truth, they were afraid of the repercussions and stigma that was gained for caring for a Jinchuriki. They knew better than the civilians, of course, but to be isolated from everyone, it's a disaster for ninjas. Ninjas who look for many methods of stress relief because of their work, if they associated with a Jinchuriki, it would most likely lead to much more stress than it would regularly be obtained, and there was a potential missing nin that could arise from it. There was also the fact that they had their own family to take care of. They wouldn't be able to protect themselves and do their jobs while fighting against the whole village. Makoto began thinking how badly she had betrayed her friend. While she tried to make up at least a bit, she still had her own problems to deal with. One thing she had to do was keep what happened in the Uchiha massacre a secret. It disgusted her to say that event, but it was deserved, she would say. They, as in along with her, tried to take over the Leaf Village. Unfortunately, Itachi, her own son, was loyal to the village and informed them of the rebellion. Although she had no idea how Itachi managed to kill all the Uchiha without any other people in the village hearing, although she had assumptions he didn't do it alone, she somehow survived being stabbed by her son by a very small percentage, a lot of luck, and a lot of willpower. Itachi was aiming for a kill, she was certain, and the after-effects of the event left her very alone and very scared. She was an intelligent woman, but she did not know much about politics and the like, so she was out of her element. Sasuke went on to swear to avenge the clan and do it alone. She called him an idiot and he ignored her and left to find his own path. Her own son abandoned her. To make matters worse, the Hokage held the fact that she was part of the rebellion to hold control over the Uchiha clan. All she could do was stand and watch as her son was corrupted by the village. She knew she didn't have much longer before they made her into a breeding stock. The only reason they haven't yet was because Sasuke wasn't strong enough, but as soon as he gains Jonin rank, they would expel her from her position on the council and make her a baby maker to repopulate the Uchiha clan. She was being watched at all times. She had no way out, and the years have made her stagnant on whatever training she did prior. All she could do was take solace that she was teaching her friend's daughter the things her mother should have, whether or not they stayed. "Hello, Kasumi-chan. How are you today?" she responded in an affectionate voice. "I'm really excited for the Chunin exam. I'm going to win it all, TT Ibeo," she responded, in full giddiness. Makoto gave out a sigh. She couldn't tell her that she had no chance of becoming a Chunin. The village wouldn't let her move up and gain more power. She had also heard what her son wanted to do with the girl. He wanted her to be put in her place for defying him. If it was in another time and everything was as she would have liked, she and Kuahina would have been squealing in joy knowing that her son had a thing for her friend's daughter, but now it was just sick. "Yes, dear, I'm sure you'll do great. But be careful out there, you know how much I worry," Makoto said, concerned. "Don't worry, Makoto Obasan. I'll kick ass all over the stadium that the whole place will have to be quarantined because it'll smell so bad," she said. Makoto just smiled. She was as bad as threatening people as her mother. The only time she was good at it was when she was pissed or kicking a person's ass for the hell of it. Makoto-san. Can I ask you a question? Kasumi said, as she now looked anxious and nervous, very unusual. Go ahead, Kasumi-chan. What is it? She responded. It was kind of strange to see the normal ball of energy Kunoichi in front of her looking so nervous. Well, how do you know when you like someone? Kasumi said, fidgeting a bit. She said, not completely believing what she just said. Well, actually never mind, I shouldn't be talking about it. Ah, look at the time I got to run. Bye Makoto Obasan. She yelled out, running into the crowd. What was she thinking? There was no way she liked that fuzzbutt, right? Did she just, hey, ha ha ha, how adorable? Makoto suddenly squealed out. She couldn't believe it, her friend's daughter and to an extent her pseudo-daughter just came asking to know about her love interest. She was sad that she wouldn't get something like this because she didn't have a daughter. It was always one of little niche to have a daughter and talk to her about her love interest. She would have rubbed it in her face for years. Ah, I didn't even get a name. Such a shame. She sighed, finally some entertainment, and it walked out the door. It was strange, but she got the feeling that things were going to take a turn for, well, she couldn't tell, but it would definitely be worth watching. Kirigakure outskirts, man. You don't give up, do you, Isobu? Naruto said, as he watched the turtle monster charge at him once more. Kurama. Geez. Why'd I get all the sibling love? Why not go for Shikaku? I'm sure you would enjoy mindless destruction. Naruto sighed, how come all his brothers had some sort of crazy personality? Roar. Shut up, will you? I get it, round 4, start, he cried out. Naruto ran through the turbulent water that Sanbi was causing and evading the tails that he was flailing wildly. Sanbi started to call up a mist to obscure Naruto's vision, but thanks to years of being a censor, he could tell which way Sanbi was. Garing his chakra, he took a huge gulp of air before screaming. Sonic roar. He learned that particular skill after becoming a Bijuu. By channeling vast amount of chakra into his lungs and throat, he could let out a large howl of sound, which acted as a barrier for many things such as elemental attacks to stopping physical attacks from moving. The roar sent out a shockwave, clearing the mist, but as soon as he did, he saw what Sanbi was doing. Come on, again. You guys just love that attack. I should have never taught it to you guys. But no, you guys wanted the super awesome ball of doom, stupid chibi version. You guys were cute back then, he shouted. Really, Bijuu tended to be one-trick ponies. Sanbi off a bit of distance away could be seen gathering chakra for a Bijoudama. It was a fairly big one by the looks of it. Crap, I know this is going to hurt. Naruto muttered, as he lifted his hand and started to gather energy into it. As he did, white-looking chakra started to gather into it. It started shredding and cutting into his human hand, and he could feel the jolts of pain coming through his arm. This is really turning out to be a crappy day, Isobu, he yelled out as he prepared to launch his attack. Isobu let out a fierce cry as he prepared to launch his attack. He was just about to swallow it until Naruto cried out. Bijoudama Bakua, he yelled out, making the glowing orb of white-looking chakra flying towards the bigger ball of condensed chakra that was Sanbi's. As the ball hit the Bijoudama, a ripple of chakra spread through the sphere, showing that the ball was absorbed. As he prepared to eat it, a violent reaction happened. The Bijoudama exploded right in front of Sanbi's face, making the creature tumble a good distance away. Naruto, who was a fair distance away, struggled to stay afloat from the after effects of the exploding ball of doom. Fuck! He yelled out as he was swallowed up by a tsunami. Naruto emerged from the water, albeit a bit exhausted from the water pressure. Stupid weak human bodies. He muttered. Now, where are you, Isobu? As he said that, he felt a wave of water emerge from behind him. He turned around and he could swear that Sanbi was giving him a glare that could kill. Sanbi opened his mouth and literally tried to eat Naruto. If it wasn't for the handy logs that were floating on the water, he would be turtle food. Snap out of it, Isobu. Don't make me have to make you sleep. Naruto cried out, but it fell on deaf ears, or whatever turtles have. Naruto jumped back as much as he could before taking out slips of paper that he made while training Kasumi. Running toward the turtle, he jumped on the creature's back and jumped even higher until the Bijuu was completely visible in his eyesight. Throwing the tags in a 5-pointed star, he waved through hand seals and called out. Bijuu Suo. Tail Beast Banishment. Go to sleep Isobue. The end. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next part.